I know you heard me on the radio. Flexing, she loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K. I know you heard me on the radio. Flexing, she loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K.
Phin-Addict family, Fury fam, what's good, man? I got my Don Shula shirt on because that's all I could think about is the past, the good old times. 1972, the old logo, the old winningest coach in NFL history. Bill Belichick's trying to get that record, but we will see if he ever catches up to it. I am your host, Larry K. I've got a lot to say today. I am sick and tired of this concussion controversy, and some news just broke very recently today that confirms, at least in part, my original theory. People didn't want to listen to me. People had their own theories, but this confirms in part. If you are in this chat, please smash that like button right away. I got to be a little bit like TD. I got to wait till we got a critical mass of people in here before I go into this theory because I don't want to repeat myself again. Smash the like button if you haven't done so yet. Smash the subscribe button if you have not done so yet. We have gotten 20 new subscribers in the last day, which is very good for this channel because we have been spitting truth. We have been spitting truth out here. We are not scared of the truth. Mouthy, what's good? Scott, what's up? California, what's good, man? Cap's in here. Greg's behind the scenes, mad already. I mean, we all got to be mad. Pam, see, I'm glad you're here, Pam, because I was going to even message you just to make sure you were here because you seem to understand my CYA theory and people seem not to really be on board. I'm glad you're here because I think that a recent news story really confirms what I was trying to say. But people just, whether it's my own friends or Dolphins fans or people don't want to listen to a very basic theory that I have with this whole concussion thing. I don't know why it's so difficult to grasp. But I had said, if you guys remember, I had come out with a video right after this concussion news broke. And I had said that I thought that the Twitter buzz, there was a Twitter video out and there was a Twitter buzz going on that Tua may have suffered a concussion. And it took 24 hours from that Twitter video coming out for the actual NFL reporters, the news, and Dolphins officials to come out and acknowledge that perhaps Tua had a concussion, that he was in protocol. Now, my original theory was that because the Twitter buzz came out and the video was circulating, the NFL, to cover their ass, that's what CYA stands for, guys, was going to put Tua into protocol no matter what. That's the same situation as Teddy against the Jets. Even though there was no concussion necessarily, they saw something suspicious, they put him right into protocol. They do that to cover their ass. That was my theory, right? Now, there are a lot of other... And if you don't believe Twitter, people are like, oh, they're going to do that over just a tweet. If you don't believe that Twitter is powerful... Whether you like it or not, and I don't particularly like it, I don't particularly think it's real news, but whether we like it or not, Twitter is a driver of our media and our social dialogue. Go look at any news story, and they are often citing public sentiment by referencing Twitter. It's always black Twitter says this, liberal Twitter says this, Asian Twitter says this, Dolphins Twitter says that. It's always Twitter, 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 Twitter. Cap, I stayed away from the Big O show because I know that he's probably using the concussion as an excuse, and I don't want to get into that, so I avoided Big O today. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. Twitter is a driver of dialogue. So the NFL and the team is going to see that video, and they are going to put Tua in protocol. That's going to happen, okay? Now, when it happened... Some people were coming up with a conspiracy theory that Tua self-reported, i.e., he was sitting by himself on Monday, and he decided, you know what, I have been so bad that I'm going to pretend I have concussion symptoms so that I can get out of playing. That was a theory. I don't think that's true. Never thought it was true. Doesn't make any sense. I don't think that Tua is that kind of person. The other theory was No, he was really, really sick on Monday. He had really bad concussion symptoms, so he went to the doctors himself. That was the other theory. I didn't agree with that. My theory was that the team and the league saw the Twitter hype. And pressured Tua into whether he had symptoms or not, because the first report said he admitted having symptoms. Then Schefter, Johnny Ola, the NFL's errand boy, just like Johnny Ola was Hyman Roth's errand boy, came out and said he self-reported. Self-reported. And Cap, don't say no more. I'm going to make you a mod. I don't know how to do it while I'm on here. I think I got to go onto YouTube. But you will be a mod. So, and you can post a link in here anyway, I think. Anthony, what up? Self-reported is what Schefter said. So that's why people started saying Tua made it up, blah, 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 blah. I never believed that. I believe that the Twitter buzz caused the Dolphins and the league to put Tua in protocol. And now that he's in protocol, the Dolphins are going to use the fact that he's in protocol, that he may have had a concussion, to change the narrative. Lakers all day, what up, my bro? To change the narrative so that we stop talking about Tua's bad play down the stretch and start focusing on the injuries and shift the narrative. And let me tell you something. It worked. You are not going to find probably any channel besides me and TD Finn's Talk sticking to the narrative that Tua struggled down the stretch. Every other channel is going to harp on the injury. That is by design. Now, let me make something clear. I'm not saying that the Dolphins invented the concussion thing just to cover up the bad play. No, I'm saying Twitter started it. Tua may have had symptoms. And now the Dolphins are going to use that to shift the narrative, shift the conversation. And they succeeded in doing that. If you don't think big organizations do things like that, you're naive. But here's how I know that my initial theory that Twitter caused it is true and that Tua didn't self-report anything. Here's how I know. Because this came out today. This came out today from Barry Jackson. Read it. What happened Monday? Barry reports. McDaniel said during film review on Monday, he had questions about consistency of things I study daily on tape about Tua and continued to question Tua. Continued to question him like an interrogation. I told you. Admitted, I told you. Continued to question Tua and then encouraged him to see a doctor who put him in protocol. Put him in protocol. I told you. Now, McDaniel's saying he saw the film himself, like he was watching film on his own. I call bull. Bull. McDaniel saw Twitter. The team saw Twitter. The NFL saw Twitter. Tua didn't self-report anything. They started grilling him about whether or not he feels that way. They want him to feel that way because it explains away his bad play. It gets him in protocol so the media doesn't jump on them. And they can cover their ass. Barry has basically proven what I said. And John, I don't believe that McDaniel watched the film on his own. No. He saw Twitter. And then today, when they were trying to figure out how to spin this thing, look at the wording. Look at the wording. During film review on Monday, consistency of things on tape. During film review on Monday, consistency of things on tape, that he continued to question him. I study daily on tape. I study daily on tape. Why would he say that? Why would he throw that in there? Wouldn't he just say, I saw some things on tape? No, things I study every day to try to make it seem like he didn't get it from Twitter. This had nothing to do with Twitter, guys. I watch tape every day. Every day I watch tape. Bull S. Bull crap. And remember, we're trying to keep the F words and the S words down on this channel. I got dinged for it. Bull crap. He saw Twitter. And the beauty of it is this. You see, they do it subliminally. If you don't believe that large organizations, and if you haven't done so yet, guys, hit like, hit subscribe. If you don't believe that organizations sit around and figure out messaging, how to say things, exactly where the comma is, where the period is, where the word is to convey certain messages and start certain narratives, you're being naive. He specifically said things I look for daily to pretend it wasn't Twitter that sparked it. And he specifically said that he saw some inconsistencies. He saw some inconsistencies because that is subliminally saying Tua wasn't playing well because he had a concussion. He didn't say it outright. He hinted at it. And without knowing that he's doing that, people pick up on that subliminal without knowing it consciously and start assigning the blame to the injury. So now all over the media sphere, all they're talking about is Tua having a concussion. No one's talking about Tua struggling down the stretch. That conversation is out the window. It's all about the injury now. And when Tua comes back in the offseason triumphantly, just like from the hip injury, and he's going to return, all the conversation will be about the injury, not his struggles late in the season, not his struggles in the clutch. And that's what the Dolphins want, because they want an excuse to trot out the same thing next year that they trotted out this year, and they want all of us fans to be duped and to think it's okay because it was just the concussion and to root for the kid because he's coming back from injury, forgetting that he struggled before any concussion. My point is that I was right. Twitter sparked this. Now, another question I have is, McDaniel also said today that it was confirmed he had a concussion. But my question is this. If there's a doctor in the house, tell me, because I honestly don't know. And I'm not calling into question these things. I'm not calling McDaniel an outright liar. But here's the thing. If I broke my toe in September and I went to the doctor today, the doctor could diagnose a broken toe. But he couldn't necessarily, could he tell me when exactly I broke it? Because Tua going to the doctor and having symptoms of a concussion, or the doctor confirming that a concussion had occurred, does not tell me that he knows exactly when it occurred. So is he diagnosed a concussion that definitely happened against the Packers? Or is he just diagnosing that this man had a concussion recently? Because we know he had a concussion against Cincinnati. My point is, you didn't hear anything about a concussion, any kind of injury, any kind of confusion, any kind of issues for 24 hours. All of a sudden, the Twitterverse starts coming up with this concussion theory, and then 24 hours later, Tua's in protocol. And then 24 hours after that, McDaniel is saying, I just happened to be watching tape, saw, wow, he's really off, and thought, wow, did you have a concussion, sir? Nonsense. Nonsense. Twitter sparked it. They put him in protocol as a precaution, and now the Dolphins are conveniently using that situation to pivot off of his struggles, to blame it on the injury, to feed us the same thing next year. Mark my words, unless there's going to be legitimate concern about health, and we will see what Greer does, my speculation is that the Dolphins trot out the same thing. I don't think they get a quarterback to actually give Tua any competition. I think they trot Tua and McDaniel back out next year and try to feed us the excuse that it was just the concussion and we'll do better this time. That's what I think. And here's the thing. I can say this over and over again on this show. TD released a tweet today that said Tua still had really good throws against the Packers after the supposed injury, but he just had the bonehead interceptions. So you can't blame his play on the concussion because he was still throwing good balls, just 3 really bad balls. But here's the thing. No matter what I say today, no matter how much I pound my fist, no matter what TD says to you, no matter how much it makes sense, no matter how much Barry Jackson's report today jives with my original theory, It doesn't matter because by March, no one's going to be talking about my theory. No one's going to care. Everybody's going to be talking about the concussion and whether he can stay healthy, and nobody's going to be talking about his consistency, except me, Fury fam, and whoever else. Very few of us, because the narrative has been shifted. And this is what happens in politics. This is what happens in the media. This is what happens with sports. This is what happens. And you're right, Bowleg. You're right. They're starting up an investigation too. That's going to grab headlines. Scott, you're right. See, you watched it on TD show. No difference. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, man. This is Fury Fan. We're just getting started tonight. Hit the like button. We're just getting started. But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. This is the nonsense that goes on in this league. This is the nonsense that goes on in this world. Now, I don't know for a fact whether he suffered a concussion or not. I'm sure they did scans. I'm sure they diagnosed things. I have a legitimate question because I don't know the answer. Can you specify when it happened based on the amount of damage or based on the bruising or based on the symptoms? And if you cannot, then I have questions because it sure seems like the Twitter hype preceded the hype that we're seeing now with the media and Tua going into protocol. And Barry Jackson's tweet, people wanted to say, oh, Tua made it up. People wanted to say, no, he was sick. No, Barry's report proves somebody saw a video somewhere and then confronted him and then put him in protocol. Do you really think after a video like that surfaces that the NFL is not going to put somebody into protocol? Do you remember what happened with Teddy Bridgewater? A spotter saw him maybe stumble and he was in protocol. So Twitter puts that video up. He's going to protocol, whether he had it or not. And now they are using it as an excuse to shift the conversation from his bad play down the stretch and his struggles to the fact that he had a concussion. And they're going to trot this same thing back out to us next year. I guarantee you. I talked to an NFL coach today. And he said on Tua, teams recognized the scheme that McDaniel was using. They recognized Tua's limitations. This is a quote from an NFL coach. Recognized Tua's limitations, and they figured out a way to stop him based on those limitations, and he hasn't figured out a way around it yet. That's the story. The concussion is also a story, and I care about this young man's health as a person. As a human being, I care about the dude. But I don't think it's fair to fans and analysts to shift completely away from the struggles and just concentrate on the injury and then trot it back out to us as if nothing happened next year. But I think that's what's going to happen. And you can tell in McDaniel's statement, that they're already building the narrative. Subliminally, subtly, they're building the narrative. If you don't think they sat in a room today with Greer, Ross, media relations people, press people, whoever else was on their payroll, and discussed how they would message this, how they would spin this, then you are full of it. This is Tua. This is Twitter hype that conveniently gives the Dolphins an out and a messaging campaign, and it's working. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. And again, I'm not saying he didn't have a concussion. I'm just wondering what goes into the diagnosis, and if we ever hear. I'm wondering if the Twitter thing never happened, are we sitting here having this conversation today? That's what I'm wondering. And then even if he had the concussion, completely had it on that play, and that is the reason, it still doesn't explain his bad play down the stretch. It still shouldn't shift our focus. But nonetheless, it is shifting our focus, and it is going to continue to shift our focus, and that's just a lot we've been dealt. And it's sad, but that's just the truth. That's just the truth. Go ahead and hit subscribe. Go ahead and hit like. If you guys have been here for more than 2 seconds, takes a millisecond to hit subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Hit subscribe. Super chat's open if you want to chime in. I'll highlight your quote. Donations always appreciated. We're growing here. We're growing. We're getting more bells and whistles. I'm trying to subscribe to the All 22. Get all this stuff going. This is LG shaking the panel. Let's bring on L and G, man. I mean, G and Shake. Fellas, Shake, Ebenezer, Shake, man. This dude is Scrooged, man. This dude has had enough. His Christmas is ruined because he's Scrooge. God damn. What up, Ebenezer?
Bah humbug.
Okay. And Greg, what's up, sir? You got your Dolphins gear on still, which I respect.
What's up, Larry?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. The Dolphins, of course, upsetted me on Christmas, but then afterwards, as I calmed down, I enjoyed the rest of my Christmas. So,
Well, that's always good. You got to calm down, enjoy the rest of your Christmas. I like Christmas morning. Christmas Eve was nice. The Finns nonsense was putrid.
Oh.
I hated it. And it's funny. People don't know this, and people would call me like a jerk or like a premature asshole or something, but I actually went upstairs and recorded my reaction video as Green Bay was driving to kick the next field goal because I already knew they lost, but I didn't put it public yet. I didn't put it public, and I wanted to delete it so bad, but I was like, no, I'm right, because people will call me a hater, I'm a quitter, whatever. But I upload the video, but I don't put it public yet, and I pop my head out, and it's right when Dolphins get the ball, so I'm like, okay, maybe I'm going to be wrong. I hope I have to delete that video, and I hope I just have to make a new one about winning. As soon as I say that, Tua goes, whoop, right to the interception. I go, I knew it, and I just put public. Then I walk back in the room. It was terrible, Greg. It was terrible, man.
It's awful.
And all these games in a row, and then you're going to do it to us on Christmas when we should have beaten the team. Like, come on, bro. What the hell is going on out here, man? Just a joke, Greg. Ebenezer, man, what's your thoughts? And Ebenezer, what's your thoughts on this and the concussion thing and the narrative and Tua's play and next year and just everything? What's your thoughts, bro?
Oh, you're muted.
Let me say, I was visited by 3 ghosts last night.
Damn.
The Christmas pass was good. I saw the 72 team.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then I was visited by the ghost of Christmas present, and he was crippled. And then I was voted by the ghost of Christmas Dolphin future, and this is a family show, so I don't want to describe how he was. So,
oh my God, it's just bad, man.
Oh my God.
And Greg, what are you thinking about the future of the quarterback situation? Like, do you
future's-
buy this injury crap? Do you want we need a new quarterback, don't we?
Larry,
Yeah.
I want a new quarterback. It's clear for the past 4 weeks, Tua's not the franchise guy. And Larry, you talked about it, and that's why I'm so upset right now. You and TD earlier were talking about my worst fear happening. I'm already prepared looking at all these quarterbacks, Jimmy G, maybe we get Lamar, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, maybe Derek Carr.
Mm-hmm.
And now you are bringing up the realization that is going to upset me next year and all this. Tua and McDaniel coming back, and we're going to have to put up with the same nonsense again next year. And I don't want to deal with that. And I don't want to deal with that. Get him out. We need a new quarterback. We have a Super Bowl winning team, and we're going to be stuck with this mediocre quarterback with concussions and injuries, and I'm done with it. Get him out. Go get me a Super Bowl. I don't give a care who the quarterback is. Get me a quarterback that can do this. I'm sick of it.
Bro, my sentiments exactly, and how frustrating is it that they've
I don't
shifted
want
the
to watch
narrative?
this guy again.
And they've shifted the narrative,
They
Greg.
figured him out. Get him out.
They've shifted the narrative, and it's all about his health now. That's what it's all about, and everybody's going to forget about this later. Everybody's going to forget about it later. It's so ridiculous.
If I'm the NFL, they should force him to retire. This is a bad look on the NFL. This guy, Tua, could get the NFL shut down, like, for real. He gets another concussion either next year or if he comes back somehow, which he's not coming back, ladies and gentlemen. He's done for the year. He gets another concussion. This could be the end of the NFL, all because of Tua Tagovailoa.
Yes. It's a joke. It's a joke, man. Now, I just want to jump right because we got a special guest on, and I want to get him on. So first thing I'm going to do is just jump right to this little segment.
The good. The bad. The ugly.
Shake, give it to us. The good, the bad, the ugly. And guys, subscribe if you haven't.
the good is we're still alive in the playoffs. We still have that last spot. The bad is the fact that we choked in the fourth quarter, and the ugly is what's ensuing right now with this concussion protocol. At the end of the day, bro, I don't even trust that. Maybe it's like I pointed out on another panel, maybe it's their way of saying we're benching Tua, because if you was to say, hey, I'm benching Tua on performance, you know how big the backlash will be from the fan base? So they got to make up something to justify why they're benching him this Sunday.
You're right, bro. And here's the thing. You know, here's what bothers me probably the absolute most. And I'll get color on here because I can't wait to hear this dude talk, man. I love this dude. But
I have a nice introduction for him, by the way.
Okay,
too,
cool. But I'm saying, Shake, what bothers me the most is that we were supposed to get clarity. We were supposed to get clarity this season. And I don't care if it was clarity positively or negatively. I wanted it to be positively. I wanted Tua to show out. And I was on the train in the middle of the season. You saw. But I just wanted clarity one way or the other. The worst part about this whole concussion-induced Twitter nonsense, whatever it is that we don't have clarity. We are still going to spend the entire offseason between the Tua-neers and the Tua haters arguing over whether or not he's the future, because he's not going to play these last 2 games. He may not play for the rest of the season. He was out for 3 games early. We don't know if the concussion caused Green Bay, because he was killing it before the concussion in Green Bay, and that would have put us in better position. We have no clarity. We're still in purgatory. It's insane.
It's insane. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense.
One of the reasons I call bullcrap on that concussion is because at the end of the day, Tua had the last drive to win us the game.
Yes.
He had the ball in his hand, the last drive, to say, hey, let's go downfield. No, 2 things would have happened. We would have cemented our playoff spot, and he would have killed the narrative that he's a choke artist with the last drive in his hands.
True. And, bro, let me tell you this. Jericho says, and Jericho, thank you so much for the donation, my brother. Does a lot for the channel. Really appreciate you, my brother. But he says, Shake, I hold you in contempt of court for that hat, bro. Jericho don't like the hat, bro, but I like the smoke and the whole little ambiance you got going over there. It looks pretty dope to me, Shake. But Jericho does not approve of that hat, man. I don't know. So what, you got anything to say to Jericho, man, about that comment, man?
Bah humbug.
Alexander, greetings. Hope everything's nice down there in West Palm. It's a little cold up where I am. Guys, there's 54 people in here. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We appreciate everybody in Fury Fam. Join the family, man. It's growing every damn day. We love you, and join up. Jericho, thank you again, my brother. Super Chat is open, guys. Shake, go. You want to introduce our special guest here?
Yeah, man. This summer, by the way, if you're not, the Finn's Tailgate is another channel that is unbiased. Whether you're a
channel, bro,
Tua-neer or not, they allow everybody. They don't ban nobody. They give everybody a voice. This guy, I used to go to bed early, so I listened to his show the day after. And one of the things that he did, and I wanted to bring it up to you, but I wanted to do it while he was here, was the time you were at almost 1,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
He went to your channel and told people, hey, man, he's almost at 1,000. Make sure, come on, let's subscribe and get him over 1,000. He didn't want to take credit for it, but I just want you to know that he pays attention to your channel, and he went out of his way to see that you got your 1,000 subs. And I thought that was something that should be mentioned. You know what I mean?
Bro, and I appreciate that. Let me tell you something. Coffee and color is my joint, bro. When I wake up in the morning, I rewind color on the Finn's Tailgate channel so I could hear him, because he gets up too early for me, but on the way to work, I rewind his show, Coffee and Color. I listen. That's what I listen to in the morning. And El Capitan comes on sometimes. Bro, I was on with DTA late night the other night on the Finn's Tailgate, man. I love the whole thing you guys are doing. I hope you don't mind. I might take some of that model and start giving guys their own show on here. But the Finn's Tailgate is a democracy, man, and I love it. And I'm a fan of color and have been for a long time. Let me just hit these 2 quick super chats, and I'm going to bring him on because I'm excited to hear his perspective. Rick Crampy donated a $10 just to the show. Rick, I love you, my brother. Even though you're not a Dolphins fan, you're on here supporting me because you're a fan of the other cast and just other things I do. You're a great friend, man. Really, really appreciate it. And shout out to Phoenix, Arizona, where Rick is right now. Shout out to everybody across the country. We got people from everywhere representing in here, and we love you, and we love it. Rick is an interesting dude, man, and hopefully anybody who's followed my other podcast, The Logic and Larry Show, will get a good taste of Rick and what he's about. Just an awesome dude all around. Pam, thank you for the $5. Pam has been, since she's been on here, since you brought her on here, Shake, and you brought some great people on here, man. Since Pam's been on here, she has been an active participant in Fury Fam. She's given awesome commentary when she's on the panel. She's given awesome comments on my videos when I put them out. She's been hyping it up. She really is one of the number one Dolphins fans that exist. Pam, I love you. Thank you so much for the donation. You help keep me going. And that's all we want. And DTA, bro, love you, bro. What's up, man? And DTA.
Before you bring on color, I just want to get one thing straightened out, man. One thing that I want dispelled right now, man. Everybody said that he hated Tua, that he's a Tua hater. No, he had his reservations. He didn't think that Tua could do it. But at the end of the day, when Tua was on his 5-game winning streak, he was the first one to say, hey, I may have been wrong about him. He's good. So he praises Tua when he needs it, and he criticizes him when he needs to criticize him. So at the end of the day, color commentary is not a Tua hater, and I just want people to realize that and need to get out their feelings. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Yeah,
man.
and let me tell you this, man, by the way, and again, thank you for the donations, Rick and Pam, but Color's the type of dude where, like, I just want y'all to be ready. If you don't even know who he is yet, I think you do, but if you don't, his voice is smooth as silk, bro. Like, see, I think my voice is smooth, and I always had that little bit of swag, but this dude, watch when this dude's mic presence. It's something to be reckoned with, I promise you that. And he's well-versed in Dolphins things and everything else that goes on. So, with all that said, and DTA, what up, bro? Remember I said the theory I had, I think it's looking right with that Barry Jackson tweet. But without further ado or further delay, let me introduce to you Color Commentary, our special guest.
Good evening, Larry K. Ebenezer Shake. Is it really that bad?
What up, my brother? What up, my brother, man?
How you doing, man? I just want to say, first of all, thank you, Shake. I really appreciate the kind words, as well as Larry K. Thank you very much. And thank you for allowing me to come up and speak with you. Yeah, I just, when you went on hiatus, like you were like 9 short, and I just couldn't let that travesty go. I wanted you to be able to come back from hiatus and be like, oh, look at that.
Bro, I appreciate it a lot. I never knew that, but I saw it bump up. I didn't know that was you, brother, but that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm too humble a guy to like say anything about it. So that's why I appreciate Shake mentioning it. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Because at the same time, you still, when you intend a gift for somebody, you still want to know that they got it. You know what I mean? So,
100%, bro. Now I know. I appreciate it.
But that being said, man, I'm first of all, who was that just now? Alexander shouting out from West Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Right down the road from you, man. Yeah, and appreciate you being here representing the 561. I'm about 3 blocks south of PBIA as we speak. But yeah, so anyway, Larry,
yes,
what you were saying about because I am of the thought that if they intend to, whether the concussion is real or fake or small or large or whatever it is, whether it would have been looked over, not been looked over, really doesn't matter. It does seem to me that the organization, the coaching, whoever is involved, is definitely utilizing it as an opportunity to leverage something.
Yes.
And so we can say, okay, we can brainstorm about what those somethings might be. And one of the somethings is something that really concerns me quite a bit. And I just really don't like the prospect of going through the entire offseason being gaslit again. And under the guise that, well, look at his spreadsheet, which still looks decent. And saying, oh, well, he never got those last 2 games to continue to prove to us that he could take the big stage or whatnot, and this and that and the other. And that really, really concerns me, because it's not so much a matter of whether I believe he is a choke artist yet or not, this or that, because I don't want to, I mean, like Shake said, I don't hate the guy. So, there are, choke artists. Yeah, we can look at the resume right now and say, yeah, so far. But that doesn't mean that can't be redeemed yet with the rest of this season.
Right.
And now that is off the table, Do we have to go through another 17 games to find that out? And if that's the case, what do we do at that point? And the thing of it is that leads me to think there is going to be a different contingency plan depending on what happens these next 2 games. Because let's face it, we all agree, most of us do, that the future is not Teddy Bridgewater. Future could be Skyler. We won't know. That's all going to play out these last few games, and I stress few, not, which is more than 2, hopefully,
Color Skynet's going to be activated.
I'm sorry.
I said Skynet is going to be activated.
Well, they would have to be, because we have to have a QB too. You know what I mean? So the thing of it is, however that plays out, if let's say that we get the miracle a lot of us are hoping for, or kind of some of us, with good reason expecting, and Skyler becomes this guy that nobody expected and we can kind of take our chances with him, then that's fine. But we are going to have to develop a contingency plan for a quarterback that can win us a Super Bowl, almost guaranteed, sight unseen, with the roster that we have constructed. And we know who those names, some of us argue about some of the fringe players, but most of us know who those names are. One of them even interjected himself into that discussion the other night from what we saw in the post-game interview on the field with Aaron Rodgers. So, that being said, it's just the other things we can list are, well, Color, yeah, you're right, but that leverage can be used a different way. And this is something that El Capitan and a few of us also don't necessarily disagree with, could be another real possibility, and could have been the end game or the gambit the entire season to begin with the gaslighting and all the stuff we've seen throughout the offseason, is that, okay, other people think this and that. I've always contended that the divide we see in our fan base is actually league wide. Like, if you were to poll everybody, football fans, league wide, magnates, executives, coaches, whoever, it would probably go 50% down the middle, because there's 50% of them out there that are like Mike McDaniel coming in saying, you know what, it's not so much whether I believe in Tua, it's that I believe in myself so deeply
yes,
that I know I can overcome. I can have Donald Duck at quarterback.
Yes.
And so that's what concerns me about what you were saying. If there's murmurs about, McDaniels just needs more time to get it right, I don't even want to really talk about that much. But what I was getting at was the spreadsheet I was talking about earlier could also serve to be effective in saying, okay, well, what about another fan base that's more trained in mediocrity than we are? You know what I mean? Where we can still shove that spreadsheet in their face and say, hey, once he's got the offseason to really get that membrane healed, you know what I mean?
Fair point, bro.
Then,
what do you feel?
Look at this B+ resume he got last year. Forget the big stage, because y'all are never going to be on the big stage anyway. You can sell a bunch of Tua jerseys to your fans and blah, blah, blah. My personal add-on to that.
That's what I want to know, yeah. What's your feeling?
Birmingham. The guy could literally bring legitimacy itself to the USFL and completely own that league.
And it's Alabama.
And they'll have what they've thirsted for so long, to get off their college team and have a professional, respectable, quote unquote, real major league professional football team.
I could see it. I don't know.
He could literally own that league.
He could.
That's bigger than the NFL, if you ask me. Even though the league itself is smaller, his position in that league could rise him to levels that he could never attain in the NFL.
It's true.
And I'll leave it at that.
Carlo, let me ask you this, though. What's your actual gut feeling? Because I think we're going to get gaslit. I'll be honest. I think the Dolphins are going to trot him back out.
Well, we're going to get an indication of that, and pay close attention to not just the play calling the next couple of weeks, but the personnel decisions on the field. And if in other words, I don't want to say that anybody's going to purposely do anything like desire to lose or want to lose or not this or that. I'm just saying, if somebody is going to come on in and take Tua's mantle, it's no different than a prize fight. Okay, the challenger, if you're going to let the referees decide it, the challenger is always going to lose if it goes to the distance, especially in the UFC. You know, you have to really, 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 really overcome that champion, like knock him out or submit him to get that belt. And regardless of how good, even if you think that other guy completely outclassed that champion, if it went the distance, the champion's keeping the belt.
Yes.
And so what's going to happen, what you're going to see here, not a prediction, but an indication of what they plan to do to us as fans regarding Tua going forward would be, okay, we can't have anybody upstaging. We don't want to purposely lose. But if Teddy's going to come in and say, yeah, I'm definitely that guy that can take you the distance above and beyond Tua, then you have to take us the distance.
Right.
And
so,
you're going to have to do it with the deck stacked.
Right.
Just like the challenger in a prize fight, who already has the deck stacked because the judges are giving deference to the champion.
It makes sense. Nicole, let me ask you this, too. Do you think this gives cover to McDaniel and some of his issues that he had down the stretch because Tua's hurt? What if we don't make the playoffs, or what if we limp in and get blown out? Do you think it gives, McDaniel an excuse? Because I think it does.
Well, there's two ways to look at that. There's okay, yeah, he gets deference because he can't control Tua's head. You know what I mean?
Right.
At the same time, this is may be what counterbalances the deck stacking. Is that, hey, you came in and said you can do this with Donald Duck, as I illustrated earlier. Teddy is not Donald Duck by any stretch of the imagination. Teddy had a lesser grade team that he took to the playoffs and went 5-0 in relief in New Orleans.
Right. Right.
Okay, so people are acting like, hey, this or that. I looked into the numbers. The stint in Denver, the only real mark on his resume, bad mark, is the Carolina stint. But the stint in Denver, forget the record. If you look at the numbers, he was pressured far more than Tua was last year.
Right.
But
so you got to get some wins out of this, Kohler. You can't just never win without Tua and lose down the stretch with Tua and still claim to be an offensive mastermind. Come on.
Right. So could this be the other way to look at that was, if this is a 2-game audition for Mike McDaniel to be an as far as where you look at it at an apologetic sense, like, because crypto, we all love and know crypto, points out a great point, is that Ross publicly said it was the coach's full decision as to who we ride with quarterback.
Right.
And Ross still expects results, right?
Right. And yeah. Cole, let me ask you this, too. And by the way, DTA, can you post the Finn's Tailgate link in the chat and Color's time slot? Man. Color's time slot, because I'm gonna stick it on the screen for a little bit, and I want you to go over and subscribe to the Finn's Tailgate and make sure you coffee, bro. It's the best morning show. It's good, and you got good guests on there too.
I do. I watch it every day too.
It's great.
Appreciate that, guys.
With that,
so, it really is just a matter of, is this? It's a matter of opinion on anybody's part. I'm putting the info out there for people to decide for themselves of, hey, is this a 2-game audition for Mike McDaniel to say, yes, Ross, I can do this without, with under any circumstances.
Cole, let me ask you this. Yeah, go ahead, Shake.
I just want to say this. I'll point this out. I said this a lot as a joke, but in a serious way, is the fact that Ross said the coach has the decision to pick the quarterback is kind of like how when my girlfriend tells me you pick dinner, knowing damn well I have on, you know what I'm saying?
Well, again, perfect point, Shake. That's a great point. What I would say to that is, in a public eye, Ross is a billionaire. Oh yeah. Ross only has to absolve himself of image. Like he has to play. He plays the opposite game. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, you think he wants to look back? So what what he can do is, it doesn't matter what they said behind the scenes to Mike McDaniel. Wink, wink, nod, nod. All that matters to Ross, if he has to scapegoat or if he has to get out of it, or if he just wakes up one day and says, I'm a billionaire and I want a different car, if that's the case, he has the plausible deniability because of the fact that officially, publicly, what does he care if Mike McDaniel cares if he broke his word or not? You see what I'm saying? He's a billionaire in the end of the day. He's like, okay, who's Mike McDaniel? Look what he just, I'm not going to say it, but I would just say, look what he just did to the last coach, but I didn't want to drag that. I didn't want to bring all that up. I'm just saying that, like, if he wants to say to Mike McDaniel, sorry about your luck, kid, this is the real world, then he has already explicitly said publicly it was Mike McDaniel's full decision as to who we roll with at quarterback.
And now let me ask you this, Kohler, because you're talking about Mike McDaniel and his decisions. And guys, check out the posted comment there. 6 to 8 a.m. most mornings is Coffee and a Cup of Color. Great show on the Fins Tailgate.
Most mornings trying to evolve into every morning once I get my situation straight. I'm kind of going through a move right at the moment.
Cool. So he's on most mornings, going to be every morning on the Fins Tailgate. It's in the chat. Click the link, subscribe to that channel, and check out Coffee and a Cup of Color. Really good show. Color, let me ask you this. What do you think and what do you make of? So A, what's your opinion on it? B, what do you think the rationale or the strategy is? 2, McDaniel starting Teddy over Skyler, because I heard a lot of hype. Now, I'm not taking in a position. I kind of think Teddy might be the safer choice, but a lot of people want to see Skyler, and they're a little bit annoyed that he's starting Teddy. What's your take on that whole thing?
I guess because I've been talking about it for a couple days everywhere. I've kind of been able to really sum it up. Look, everybody's justified in thinking that about Skyler. Absolutely. First of all, I want to make that very clear. I'm not trying to hate on anybody's opinion about Skyler. I understand what we've seen as far as what his talent could bring as far as potential goes. So the thing of it is that if the people that are worried about Teddy, I'll sum it up like this. For the people that are worried about Teddy at that level, we have time. We're not out of it yet. So you may yet get what you want. Have some patience. And my thought is strategically, coaching wise, X's and O's wise, you start Teddy. If he is the failure that everybody thinks he is, actually, I saw a poll somewhere 65% of the fan base thinks he is.
Wow.
Then you're down by 10 or 17 by halftime. Your offense is absolutely garbage with no production. Make the move and throw caution to the wind.
Right.
Because if Skyler is the guy that everybody hopes him to be, he should be able to erase a 10 to 17 point deficit, no problem.
Good point. Now, what do you think? Would you have gone with Skyler? And then, Greg, I'm going to let you go in. Would you have gone with Skyler or would you have gone with Teddy, Color?
You mean earlier this season?
No, now. Because you saw
now?
He was second, then he was
probably
third.
would implement the strategy that I just illustrated. Okay. That's probably would be actually my choice as a coach in this at this moment.
Makes sense to
because we may be pleasantly surprised that Teddy is that guy from Minnesota.
Makes sense.
And now he's got a way better team.
I tend to agree with you. I agree with you. Greg, what were you going to say?
If you guys watched TD the other night, he was on.
Greg, I'm sorry. One other thing to finish that off. Pump the brakes if it don't look like it at first. Give the guy time to get in his own rhythm. That's all I'll say about that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but if you watched TD the other night, he was doing the PFF stuff, and Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson are the top 2 most pressured quarterbacks because early in the season, they weren't playing with Terrell Armstead. All of a sudden now they're playing with Teddy Bridgewater is going to be playing with Terrell Armstead, and he'll have runs with the ones. So we could very well see a different Teddy Bridgewater. But again, if Teddy Bridgewater plays like Teddy Dogwater, like some of us think, you got to go with Skyler.
And I've got the actual numbers on that, Greg. Skyler was pressured in the quasi full game appearance he had. He was pressured 44% of his dropbacks.
Wow.
And Teddy was pressured 33% of his. To his average this season is 19.8.
Let me ask y'all this real quick. I looked at the numbers, right? And this is without Tua and with all 3 quarterbacks. Right now, the Dolphins are sitting at 4,000 pass receiving yards. almost 3,000 of those receiving yards are between two receivers. Is that concerning?
Yes. Well, let me tell you this, and then I'll let Color and I'll let Greg chime in, man. One of the things that kind of disturbed me about both Tua and McDaniel is you have a coach and you have a quarterback, and McDaniel's saying he's going to get the most out of a quarterback who has, limitless potential. And we're supposed to believe that he has limitless potential and that McDaniel has limitless bag of tricks to get the most out of his personnel. And I didn't like him, and I wasn't convinced on the McDaniel hire until I heard him speak preseason, where he said, look, I've been through many different teams, and depending upon the personnel in a given situation, I've had to alter the offense and alter my approach given the personnel that I have. I took him at his word. But if you look at this season, and to your point, Ebenezer, that you just made, it's true. You're focusing on two of the most talented weapons in the NFL, but you also have Cedric Wilson, Alec Ingold, and let's talk about Smythe, who is the traditional tight end, who hasn't been involved as much down the stretch. You have Mike Gesicki, who may not be ideal for your blocking schemes, but can catch a ball or two, as he proved this season and especially last season. And the fact that both Tua's limitations seem to be more the field position or whatnot. He throws into the middle of the field. He struggles to throw outside the numbers. He struggles to go down to the third and fourth read. He struggles to do anything off schedule. I know that's an overplayed thing from, Louis Jacques, but whatever. My point is, I think it's very concerning both for the quarterback and for the coach that they have not been able to reach deeper into the talent that's available and make more happen, especially when teams have focused and honed in on shutting down the middle of the field and shutting down the routes of these two wideouts. I think it's a huge question mark that's going to hover over this quarterback and coach going forward. Now, I'm already there on the quarterback. If we don't bring in legitimate competition, I don't know what I'll do. But on the coach, I'm still willing to give a chance. But if he can't dig a little deeper, that's one of the things that concerns me. And I'll let Greg and Color chime in on that, but that's my take.
Yeah, we have to bring I don't care who it is. Just got to bring competition in, because if we don't, and this is what's going to happen. We're going to go down Ryan Tannehill 2.0, and I don't want to do that again. So we got to I don't care who it is, Jimmy G, Mike White, Brock Purdy, whoever else is out there available. If we don't bring competition in, this is going to be Ryan Tannehill 2.0.
And Color, what's your take on what Shake said?
I think you're absolutely right about the usage of the tight end has been. It's actually virtually nothing when two is in. Although when our backups were in, that usage increased. And also, take a guy like Durham Smythe. To your point, the guy was rocking an 83% catch rate last year. Mm-hmm. On a large sample size, albeit not as much as Gesicki's sample size, it was still large enough for that percentage to actually matter and to be, sort of to be descriptive. Okay. Right. And so, his usage has far decreased. Like it's virtually nothing this year.
Yeah.
Compared to last year.
Right.
However, and so as such, his completion rate has gone down a little bit. That's suffered, but it's still 10 points higher than Gesicki's at 76%.
Wow.
There's just right at this point, if it continues, it's malpractice how we've utilized our tight ends this season.
I agree, and it is, and that gives me a big pause. But to your point, Color, that's interesting. I didn't know that the usage ticked up with the backups, which may not be a McDaniel problem as much as a Tua problem. I don't know.
Well, at the same time, the usage was a guy like Tanner Connor in a crucial situation.
True.
Where it's like, now people will say, well, he works with that's who he works with in practice, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but you're talking about that's not the first. Gesicki was in earlier. Gesicki caught a great pass from Skyler later in the game.
Yes.
A long post route. So there's no excuse to be putting Tanner Connor in that situation in a crucial drive when the pass was put on the money.
Right.
So, there something could be said to my point about somebody not wanting to be upstaged. But now the feeder over the or getting lower to the fire. You know what I mean? So we may see that kind of play calling stop. The one other thing, I'm really sorry, Larry K, but I do have a hard break in about 4 minutes.
Okay, fair enough, brother.
For another friend of ours, mutual friend of all of ours. I'll let you shout that out later on, closer to the end of your show, gotcha. At your leisure. Mm-hmm. But we know who she is. Yes. And I help her out on Wednesday nights. So, okay. But one thing I did want to add to the whole thing about the concussion thing, and to his performance, I find it laughable that we've been once again gaslit into believing that Tua's performance was affected by that concussion. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'll just leave you guys with this, and a big thank you for having me up here, and to Shake as well, who.
Thank you, my brother.
Shake, man, you've put up with me being so dodgy like I have, bro. I just been dealing with a lot in my real life, man. I don't mean to be so dodgy on you all the time.
Understanding, my brother. We all family, man.
But Tua, before the actually, there's two things I'd like to say about numbers. Tua, before the hit, the quote unquote hit, was 8 for 12.
Damn.
And after the hit, he was 7 for 13.
So it really didn't change at all.
Literally, the only difference was the 3 interceptions.
Literally, that's it. And that's what TD was saying. Right. So, right.
And yards per catch went down from 19 per to 12 per.
Yes. So
which is still 3 yards above his average of 9 per.
Right. So this nonsense with the concussion it doesn't make sense, Color, but they're running with it anyway.
It's
yep,
just
of course.
Years, man.
And there's nothing we can do about it.
It's terrible.
Like, there is absolutely nothing we can do about it but speak up and say what we think is our opinion, and let the chips fall where they are. You know, that's what. Hey, you say, real quick, Shake. I'll do the YouTube version of this. You say some things, and then that's what the subscribe button's for. You know what I mean?
Yes.
True. And so, one other thing, this whole, I couldn't believe when I saw this comparison how laughable it was as well mathematically. How it's even fair, where they're like, Flores started 1-7, McDaniel started 8-3.
Right.
Wait a minute here. No. Are we going on an 8-game sample size or an 11-game sample size?
Right. Right. And
because if we're going on an 8-game sample size, McDaniel started 5-3, which is still better. I'm not trying to crap on him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so obvious how disingenuous they're being.
Yes. No, good point, dude. Great point.
You know?
Yeah, everything's going to be disingenuous from now on, and we don't even have the ammo we had, because they're not going to listen to us now. They're just going to assign everything to the injury, and they're going now it allows them to pull out the rest of their bag of nonsensical tricks, you know, without logic and without objectivity, to just cause another offseason of nonsense, Color. And that's we'll deal with it, but that's what sucks, you know.
In the long run, people might see this as maybe antithetical to who I am, but bring it on, because hey, that'll give me a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, man. Agreed. Agreed,
so,
brother.
Before you go, Carl, I just want to say thank you for sparing us some of your time. And number 2, I was doing a cup of coffee with color before it was cool. Just remember that.
And you're right. Before it was cool. Now it's definitely cool anyway. Check out Miss Finn's, by the way, man. I gotta
tell you guys one more thing.
Yes.
The coffee mug that I use in that show with the 2008 logo on it and all that, my favorite coffee cup, broke.
Oh,
damn.
So now you got to get another iconic coffee cup, bro. What are we going to do?
My coffee cup has a concussion.
Everybody's getting concussed around the Miami Dolphins nation.
And I'm dead serious. It slipped out of my hands today, putting it in my Keurig machine. And that was all she wrote.
Just like the Dolphin season, Color.
So now I've got this cup with this whale on it, this blue whale. But I do have another one with that logo on it that's newer. Like, it's newer, but it's got the 08 logo on it. And so I'm going to be running a poll on my next show as to which new coffee mug I'm gonna use going forward.
So vote in that poll, guys. Vote in that poll. I'll vote on it. I'm voting. I want the options, the picture poll. I'll vote.
And always, Larry K, great job. Oh, reminder to everybody, make sure you're actually subscribed to Larry K if you have, because it's been so long that YouTube's little, because it's software and it's not a human being, it makes mistakes. And I wasn't actually still subscribed to you. So
it does
just reminder to everybody, check your subscribe status with Larry K and hit the notification bell. Because YouTube likes to do some janky stuff like that. It may have, you know what it was, you know what it is. I think I completely forgot. I probably subscribed to you on my original persona, like my private persona.
Makes sense too.
You know what I mean? And I just never did it with my color commentary channel. That's probably what it is. Maybe it was my mistake, but it's done now. So everybody make sure you hit that subscribe button. And you guys, you gentlemen, have a great night. We got to get it up maybe later. Maybe I can bring you on, vice versa.
Down.
We could chop it up for a little longer, whatever.
I'm down, Color. Let me know.
Just
reach out, brother, and we'll set it up. I'd love.
And we all love Greg. We just wish he'd turn on his camera a little more when he comes on the tailgate, man. Yes. That orange hair is fire, man.
It really is, bro. It really is.
He literally grows orange hair. Is that dye or is that your natural hair color?
Natural. All natural.
See, the man's literally growing orange hair, man. How's he not a Dolphins fan?
He is, bro. Look at that. Growing orange hair. Kid's born for it. He's born for it. So
hey, have a great evening, guys. I'll catch you later, Shake. I'm sure I'll catch you later, Greg. And Larry K, as always, I'll catch you if you're around.
Yes, sir.
And have a great show, buddy.
Later, Color. Thanks for coming on, my brother.
Yep. Thank you.
So Color, man, make sure you go subscribe to Color, man. Subscribe to the Fins Tailgate. Miss Fins, he's going to check out. Make sure you check her out too. Also has a daily morning show, which I love to watch and listen to. She does a great job too. And a lot of times when I'm getting in the shower and stuff in the morning, I put on Miss Fins, I put on Color, drive to work, I put them on. Go check them both out. Subscribe. Both a lot of great content. Miss Fins does she has segments every day, different ones, AFC East, and then predictions and things like that. There's a lot of great Dolphins content out there. So make sure you're checking out everybody. And we try our best to bring people on so that you could see how they are. That's what TD did for me. That's kind of how I got jumped off got linked up with these guys too. And we all try to share in it. We try to go on each other's panels. You guys know that. And smash subscribe on this channel if you haven't yet. Good point by Color. Make sure you hit the notification button because a lot of people are saying that when I come on, I'll come on and they don't get the notification when I'm live. So make sure you hit that so we get on live.
And by the way, yeah. I'm in talks with another special guest. I'm not going to say.
Don't tell.
It's a big surprise, but it's in talks. So it's going to be happening soon.
Awesome. Yeah, and we may shift our time from Wednesday to Tuesday, but we'll talk about that later. The season's kind of ending, and then we'll do a little bit of a different schedule, reduced for off season. I may start putting some people on with their own shows on this channel, like the Fins Tailgate does. We'll talk about that. But a lot of things coming up, so hit subscribe. But without further ado, I want to bring on the panel. We got a couple people signed up to talk, so I'm going to go in the order that they signed up on, let them speak for like 5 minutes on their own, and then bring the next person up, and then we'll just open it up like kind of a free-for-all. So first one is Pam. Pam, great to see you, great to talk to you. I've been talking to you all week, but nice to talk to you on the panel. How you feeling?
I'm feeling bamboozled, really. And I'm glad Greg was able to get rid of the blue. I thought he was eating Smurfs for a minute.
I don't know what he's doing. He's always eating something, or he's either working in a food store or eating things. I don't know, but it's great. It's great entertainment. I mean,
he was able to get rid of it. I don't know how he did it so fast because that stuff normally sticks around.
Yes.
It's like eating the red rose on a cake. You're like done. You're red.
Always.
But yes, so Larry, I always your videos that you put out, like I'm always pretty much in line with what you're thinking. I feel like you reach into my brain a lot of times, and today, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, made so much sense, the whole CYA thing. And so now everything that I thought about this team is thrown out the window, and I have a completely other take, and I have another take for us going into the next two games and whether we'll make the playoffs or not. But It is based on just pure speculation as far as I'm still
I can
horse,
hear.
by the way, from the game on Sunday.
I've been
I
there, Pam. I get it. I give you props though, because you must have been one of the few screaming, because all I heard was the cheeseheads, and you told me your experience, which I mean, you're out there giving your all, and the way the crowd was just a shame. But that's okay. We'll roll with you with the hoarse voice because we know what it was for.
Yeah, well, and you know what the thing is those cheeseheads that were around me, they'll never forget me. I guarantee you they're talking about me right now
I
because
love it.
it was a full-on experience. One guy turns around and looks at me and says, "I hope you never get mad at me."
That's awesome. Hey, they know you at least. They'll never forget you, like they said. Next time they go to
Never
a Dolphins game, be like, "Oh, where's that Pam lady? Oh my
Where
God,
is she?
where's that
She's
blonde?
so
I'm scared."
crazy. She's so crazy. Yeah, and I am kind of crazy. So yeah.
Hey, Pam, check this out. I went to the in-laws' house for Christmas Day to watch the game, and they're from Wisconsin. That's all I got to tell you.
Oh God.
Oh man.
At least
You
I was
weren't as
surrounded by angry
surrounded as
people.
I was, all I can tell you. I mean, literally, I'm trying to outscream 50 people standing around me, and I think I kind of did. That's why I'm like this right now, because
Yes.
they knew they'd been messed with at least.
Yes.
But
Well, Pam, what's your theory? Well, you were going to say something. You're going to see what your take was on the team. I'm interested to hear.
yeah, so after seeing all this stuff, and I feel like you said, it's CYA. We've kind of been told a pack of crap, and I think that McDaniel has apparently been scheming for Tua the entire time. Like, in other words, our offense, because when you look at the beginning, first few games of our offense, we spread that ball around to everybody, and we were so successful. Teams should be scared because they never knew who was going to get the ball. But then we got so one or two dimensional with Tyreek and with Waddle. What we did with the tight ends, like we did nothing. They were just gone. Last season, look at the impact that our tight ends had. It was huge. And so now I feel like McDaniel is gonna have to use the offense we have. He's no longer, I almost feel like, handicapped by Tua. And I mean, I stood on his side. I protected him. But Sunday night and Monday morning, I was like, I'm off the train. I'm completely done with the Tua train. I don't want to see him back. I don't want to see him take the field again.
Let me ask you this, Pam, too, because yeah, you have been, and have a lot of air of confidence that even I'm like, oh, we're not going to win Buffalo, like we're going to beat Buffalo. What I want to ask you, like, because you're somebody who you're a supporter, you're a rational fan, you're a legitimate like fan who expects results, but you're also a supportive fan. I'm curious, what was it that got you off the train? Was it the play? Was it another injury? Was it the way the injury was handled? Was it a combination of all? I mean, what is it that's kind of making you finally say, I'm just done?
Well, being at that game Sunday and that last interception, honest to God, I saw that and I was like, that looked intentional. It looked ridiculous. That defender was like, whoa. You could see him. And also, Larry, and I said this on a few spaces earlier today, when I don't know if it was after the second interception or the third, doesn't really matter. We were on the visitor side. So when the defense was coming on the field, I could see their face. And I was like taken aback by how they looked. I could tell they were not happy. You could tell there was something up, and they were like, okay. And they did their job, but you could tell something was up. They were.
So you're saying you saw from the team themselves, maybe they're starting to lose faith in the
I did. I saw it on the defense's face when they took the field. And I mean, it was like a thought process that I actually went through, like, oh my gosh, look, oh crap,
Yes.
I mean, it was major.
Makes sense. All right, guys, and Pam, thank you for that. Stick on the panel. I'm going to bring John on. And that's, you know what, that that hits a chord and that really gives us even further insight. I mean, I think no matter how confident you were, or how much you wanted to, and I was on the train in the middle of the year. Who couldn't be? I mean, the kid was playing great, but the reality sets in, especially if you've seen this movie so many times and if you've been a fan for so long. You just, how much are we supposed to take? How are they going to trot out the same thing another year and expect us to get enthusiastic and expect us to have faith when this is how it crashed? It's just excellent insight. It really is.
Larry, I can tell you right now, if they trot out the same garbage they trot out for years, I can tell you right now, I hope things go south.
Quickly, because that's what happened with Philbin when he brought him back. He was fired mid-year. Tannehill, you got to stop. Like, when you see that it's not working and that it's untenable, and I understand if you want to still give him one more shot, but what you do is you bring in legitimate competition. A Minshew, a Jimmy G, a guy who can actually beat him. Don't give me some half-ass backup and then say it's a competition when it's not. And that's what, unfortunately, I suspect they might do. We will see. Yeah,
I honestly think we have competition on our own field, and he needs some reps with the first team and stuff. But I actually believe that Skylar is a guy who could be developed. He to me, he shows me a lot. When he stands in that pocket, when he's focusing downfield, when he doesn't have happy feet, when his cannon of an arm, when he runs with the ball. I mean, the kid just has a pocket presence that I don't think you can teach. He looks veteran-like in his presence. Maybe not veteran-like in all his play, but I point that to lack of experience and first team reps kind of thing.
I agree. I agree. I'd love to see Skylar too. I don't know. We're starting Teddy, but I think Skylar has a ton of potential. I agree with you, and he may well be the guy. But you got to have a legitimate competition, and I don't know if they'll do it. Hopefully, they do. We'll see.
So, Larry, so are you saying that the QB competition next year will be like a Russian election?
Yes, yes, bro. Why are you so good with your damn metaphors? They're just—it's like hot, man. It never stops. It's just so sharp. Oh God, bro, I love it, man.
That's messed up, Shake. That's really messed up, man. Hey,
Johnny,
what's up, Larry?
What's going on, my brother? I like your background. Look at this. Look at this. I like that. I love that background. Bro.
Put up the old school flag. It's just a little temporary thing, but put up the old school flag, man, because I honestly kind of miss the old school days. But, you know, I was really thinking and pondering a 4-game losing streak in December really gets you thinking about your team. I mean, a lot more than usual. And I'm basically a fanatic, right? So it occupies probably 20% of my day just thinking about this darn team. Mm-hmm. And I was getting back to the first 3 games of this season. And frankly, just how beautiful it was, because we were staring down the barrel of 4 really tough teams, right? Mm-hmm. And what happens? And how's my mic, by the way? Do I sound good?
You sound great.
You sound good.
Okay, cool. So we're looking at, you know, I can't even recall the teams. What we had, the Patriots, we had the Ravens, and we had Buffalo, not necessarily in that order, and we won all 3 of those games. And it was just such, honestly, an amazing feeling as a Dolphin fan. You're sitting there looking at this and you're like, wow, we hired Mike McDaniel, and he truly is turning around Tua. And just as a fan looking at the game and wanting to believe in the team, you're just on cloud 9, and things are looking great. Like, I can't see how we don't go to the playoffs after what I've seen. Yes. And Mike, looking at Coach Mike, I'm thinking, I said on this very show, I thought the dude looked special. Truly special. Mm-hmm. And to start off the season that way, and then obviously we all know what happened in Cincinnati. Darn near ripped all of our hearts out, frankly. It was a real gut punch on a short week. Thursday night, we're in the spotlight. You know, we're all gloating to all of our coworkers, every family member that will listen. My darn neighbor, I didn't care. I was telling everyone, you know, look out for them Dolphins. They're looking good. We got Coach Mike. It wasn't necessarily because of Tua. I just looked at Coach Mike and I thought he brought the best out of the guy. And I was like, man, this is a good coach. So, and that's where my allegiance honestly has been this entire season. I tend to frown on Tua, and then I like to give Mike credit. I have some built-in bias to just be clear to the entire everyone on the chat, everyone on this panel. That's been my built-in bias based on kind of what I've seen. And to be honest, so I've never been on the whole Tua thing, but seeing this collapse in December, and I don't necessarily blame Mike, But seeing what's happened since the concussion, Larry, you mentioned it. There's a freaking video on Twitter going around that is damning. It is really damning. And he fell almost not as brutal, but darn near identical hit to the turf that he took in that Cincinnati game, right? And then, yeah, all of a sudden, the oddest thing, I've never heard of maybe we don't pay attention. Maybe it's not with the guys like Tua, but I got to say, it's probably pretty rare that a concussion is declared the day after a game.
Yes.
And then even with all of that, so we got this concussion thing going on, and then the way Mike comes out and handles it, okay? And you'd look, we have conflicting reports coming out. Was it self-reported? Was it not? Did they look at the video? It's very, very, very confusing. And I feel like, and I hate to tie this, but Larry, you hit on it earlier, and it's resonating with me, okay? That I follow politics, okay? I do, because I got kids. This is the country. Like, it matters to me, some of these outcomes of things. And I look at politicians under a different eye. I actually look at them, they're bull crapping, they're lying, what's going on? Very, very suspicious. But under my Dolphins, I've always looked at with, I don't know, like I'm a proud father, and that's my team. Ah, boy, go. And I'm not usually very critical of the team. But what I've seen since this whole Tua thing coming out, the media stuff going a buzz, what's happening with their starting Teddy, which I have a whole nother bone to pick about, but I'm looking at it as a very political move here. And I need to start looking at the Dolphins a little differently. I think I need to start looking at them as a politician, because I am so thankful for all these YouTubes. You had Color on. That dude is a wealth of knowledge. He loves his team. He'll pour his heart and soul. Hell, the guy got a flat tire at the game, then had to spend like 5 or 7 hours sitting trying to get it fixed. Like, that's money out of his own pocket. But it's like you have streams on this beautiful YouTube platform. Larry K, Shake, Greg, Pam, you all know it. You're all involved. That kind of bring all of this to light. And it's opened my eyes to the organization, and it's gotten me involved in a really deep way to the point that I actually think that there's a voice to be had here that was never had before. We were just politically lied to, this and that. But at the end of the day, within one day, 24 hours, we've picked this crap apart. The story has completely changed, and we're on to them. And so to summarize my open thought here is, Coach Mike was my guy. But I'm looking at going on right now, I'm feeling like I'm being manipulated a little bit. And then he's going with Teddy over Skyler, which I think I'm worried about the future of the team. If Tua ain't going to work out, which I don't think he is, I'm worried about the future of this team. And I don't see in any way Teddy being a part of that. Frankly, if that guy goes and balls out, I mean, honestly, not going to happen. Not going to happen, right? But hypothetically, that guy wins a Super Bowl, we can't re-sign him. And if we do, it'll cost us as much as any other hot quarterback on the market. So Teddy is frankly a waste. What happens if Skyler wins the Super Bowl? Well, hell, we got him locked up next year, and it ain't going to cost us nothing extra. So, and that's also a huge hypothetical. So, where am I at on this team? Not necessarily been a Tua guy. I got behind him because I love my team and I love the cheer. But Coach Mike, I've turned on him. He is now. I'm not his guy. He's not going to get my backing unless he's going to have to honestly earn it back from me. He could get it back. I could become a Mike Stan again, but he's got to earn it back. So, good seeing you guys.
And I'm going to bring Esther on, but John,
thanks, John. Yes.
Everything you said, bro, I agree with. And
Me too.
And I'm glad that this is why I even started this channel. This is why we have, everybody participates everywhere, but we seem to have consistent viewers and consistent participants, which is awesome because we have a certain, way of looking at things, and we don't always agree, but we all kind of can look at things objectively and look at things intellectually. And I'm just glad that you really summarized in different words kind of what we're talking about on the show today, and really breaking it down, because these entities are large multi-billion-dollar entities, and unfortunately they do function a lot in the same ways that politicians, large corporations, other entities do, and we've got to really be mindful of it. And I love that you brought up the podcasters, because we do have a community now that can look into things outside the company line and the company narrative. It's just great that you point to all that. With the Mike McDaniel stuff, dude, I just want to say I agree with you there, too. I'm looking for a reason to hop back on because I want to believe, just like I wanted to believe in Tua, and I hopped on for some time. Mike still can get me, but he's got to work at it because not only the way he's handled this, which is a big question mark, but the way he's handled, the play on the field, the X's and O's, is a big question mark to me down the stretch. He still has an opportunity now with 2 regular season games left alive for the playoffs to make an impact. If he resigns to the fact that Tua's hurt and we're just going to replay this next year and I don't see any results or any innovation or any effort with the backups, that's going to be a big demerit on his part because he's not going to come in here next year and convince me so easily. He better show up or shut up the next 2 weeks. That's what I'll say.
I want to put a quick analogy too another analogy is I told Pam this on another stream. In the last 10 years, we went through 4 coaches. If my brother had that many wives in 10 years, I'll be like, damn, what are you doing to these women? So eventually you got to stop looking at the coaches and start looking at the organization.
Yes.
And saying, why are they going through all this?
Bro, if they keep doing this, I might have to take a trip up to New York to visit that guy right there.
Come on. I've been telling you. I'm telling you because being in the New York area, I explained it on a video. I'm not going to go into it again, but there's other drama with him outside of football. Like the dude has a reputation of packaging up things that are nice, glitzy, glamorous, but not necessarily worth the hype. And people even, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing, people have died on his monument and things, and he could have made changes to solve it. He didn't. I'm not attacking him on that level, but I'm just saying the dude is suspect, and everything permeates from the top down in any organization, and he's a problem. Esther, what up? What's on your mind? Welcome to the show.
What's going on,
Hey,
yo?
Esther.
And I think Shake's spot on. I said this with a couple of fans from the fan base earlier. And I got to give John some pushback. I understand, he said he had, certain feelings about McDaniel, but here's the point that I've been trying to drive home since we had Flores. The culture of this team sucks, and we move on from coaches too much, and everybody got in their feelings because Flo did not like this kid as his quarterback. He wanted somebody else. But in all reality, in all sports, whether you got kids that are in youth and you're coaching them or your kid's playing, if your kid's not good enough to start at a position, that coach is going to choose somebody else. That's all it was. It was nothing personal, and our fan base made it personal, and everybody got in their feelings, and everybody hated Flo. Was he really that right? Was he really wrong? I don't know, but it looks like he was right to me because we're seeing it right now. This is another coach. This coach went on a telephone call on camera, has publicly stated multiple times how much support he has for Tua. And what does Tua do? He gives us 4 L's and horrible performances against teams on nationally televised games. That's embarrassing. And a lot of people want to say, oh, well, what about the halftime adjustments? Okay, well, is your quarterback not responsible when he goes out there pre-snap to see formations? Is he not still supposed to extend and make plays? Audible? There's things that quarterbacks should do in their 3rd year that he's not doing. Another thing is if he's the so-called guy, why is it that all his numbers started going up against crap teams? Like that's when it started. I mean, that's when you started hearing about Pro Bowl when we're beating teams like the Lions and the Texans and everybody's
Lions, Tigers, Bears.
He's so good. Oh, he's so good because we said he's so good that we sat him at halftime. No, what you should have been doing was giving him reps. And another thing, we have every loss that we have this year you can directly point back to Tua and his injury. People try to say that we had 3 losses because we play with backups, but I tell you what, man, if this dude would have got rid of the ball and not went out of the pocket against Cincinnati, he would have never got hurt and we would have never missed those 3 games. But I do give McDaniel some fault because he didn't have plan B ready to go. Look at what the 49ers did to us. Did they not have plan B ready to go? Garoppolo goes down the beginning of the game. That kid comes in his first year and he outplays Tua.
Right. No, you're right.
Starting to look like a big time.
They going to the Pro Bowl, and that's another thing about this fan base. We're so happy about these participation awards, guys getting selected to the Pro Bowl, or just making a a playoff appearance when everybody knows damn well that we're going to end up playing KC and it's going to be one and done because we got a quarterback that has no confidence, that's our starter, or we're going to go in with 2 backup quarterbacks that aren't prepared, that don't get that haven't taken reps with the ones. So me personally, my expectation 0. I think we're done. I think Tua's done. If I'm Ross, I'm already figuring out plan B to bring somebody else in next year. What I would do is go after a veteran. That way you can re-sign Christian Wilkins, keep a lot of your core, maybe add one more offensive lineman, and let's rock. Bring in Tom Brady, bring in Aaron Rodgers. I don't care anybody. And if you want to really try to do something and sling a Hail Mary, figure out how the Rams did it to bring somebody in, how the Browns did it to bring in Deshaun anyways. I don't want to hear this excuse that we don't have money when those teams are still doing it. Because I tell you what, let Flores get the head coaching job in Cleveland next year because I think it might be open. Everybody that was talking smack about that guy is about to eat their words.
Ooh, Esther came in hot, by the way. You came in like that Brian Cox photo on your avatar, bro. You came in just like that. And by the way, I want to ask you something before I let the panel, and then I'm going to bring Lakers up. But I want to ask you something. What do you think of the fact, and I kind of felt that way when he was first brought in and all the little media propaganda, and now in hindsight I feel that way again. What do you think of the theory that maybe McDaniel was brought in because he was a personality match to kind of coddle Tua and his personality and make him look great and kind of coddle him, as opposed to he was by far the best man for the job in terms of tactics, resume, etc. Is there any merit to that? Yes or no?
I think there is some merit to it. There's a little bit of balance in all that, in all those theories, because, well, for one, this guy related to the scheme that Tua could be successful in, and they already had him on the radar. They were already trying to hire him under Flores. He just didn't take the job, so he was already on the radar.
Oh, okay.
Me personally, I don't attack McDaniel too much because it ain't nobody's fault but this office that just flip-flops on coaches left and right, because one of the things that we have to accept as fans is he's going through a learning curve. Managing games is not that. He's responsible for both sides of the ball. This guy also has to manage the clock and close out games. That's not that easy. Look what Jason Garrett did with the Cowboys for 10 plus years. They didn't realize that guy couldn't manage games with all the talent that we have. This guy's in his first year. I'm not saying he's Jason Garrett, but this year reminds me of those Cowboys teams where they couldn't get it done with talented teams, the best offenses in football. They couldn't get it done because Jason Garrett would have leads and not realize that he needed to commit to the run game. The problem with these coaches is they want to be flashy and they don't know how to play sound football. Bring me something boring to the table. Shake me in a little bit of Bill Belichick. That's why Brian Flores would have been the perfect coach for us right now, because he knew how to play sound football. He was giving you examples of doing that, but everybody got in their feelings and started getting on the Tua train. The Tua Witness Protection Program is what I call it.
But Dallas didn't get anywhere because of Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones.
Hold on. Let Pam make this point, because I know where she's going, and it piggybacks off your point.
Yeah, so Dallas didn't go anywhere because Jerry Jones handcuffed every coach, and I said it. I've said it for several years now. The year that Bill Parcells was the head coach, that year that he left, they would have been Super Bowl champions if Jerry Jones would have stayed out. They were set up to go to the big show, but Jerry Jones decided he was going to take T.O. over Bill Parcells, and as long as Jerry Jones is head of that organization, there'll never be anything because he can't keep his nose out of it.
The owner's metal, man, and then we got, who we got, and it's just, look at his freaking schnoz, man. Look at him, look at his ears. I mean, the ears are going to be in your way all the time. He's going to take flight next time. He's going to take flight like the New York Jets. It's ridiculous with this guy.
Ross, if you need help running this team, call me up.
There you go.
That's what I told McDaniel on a comment. I told McDaniel, dude, do you need to listen to a fan? You need to sit down and have a beer. I'll even buy the beer. That's literally what I said in a comment on his
I love it. Lakers, my bro. How you feeling, man?
Lakers.
What's up? How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Good to hear from you as always, man. What's on your mind today?
Man, what everything Esther said is right, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's right, because if y'all realize, you know what I'm saying, like, Brian Flores preached fundamentals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this team needs. This team don't have no fundamentals, you know what I'm saying, with the penalties, you know what I'm saying? Like, Brian Flores was the best coach for us. And they
It's
don't
been
realize
sloppy.
it.
It's been sloppy, Lakers. With the penalties, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, the penalties, you know what I'm saying, all that stuff, you know what I'm saying, the defense, you know. Like, if you see it, you know what I'm saying, Bora, I mean, he's an okay coach, but you know what I'm saying, having Brian Flores as our defensive coach right now and our head coach would have been great, you know, because you know what I'm saying, like, he stopped Lamar Jackson, right? How you
Yeah,
gonna
he
stop
did.
Lamar Jackson? That's not easy. That's not easy either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people don't understand that, like, having a coach like him, it was a good thing we had him, but sometimes it's crazy that, you know what I'm saying, that you're saying how they just gonna even fire him just because he had a bad thing going on with the with the quarterback, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now everybody realizing that Brian Flores was right about Tua, you know?
Yeah, it's a tough situation, man. And in hindsight, it looks like he may have been right on that aspect. And I get the whole non-collaborative stuff, whatever. But at the end of the day, man, like, he got us to the baseline we're at, which is a winning record 2 seasons in a row. Not the playoffs, not amazing. I don't, on offense, he had some question marks with who he hired and whatnot. But if McDaniel can't build on the baseline, which was a winning season, if McDaniel doesn't make the playoffs and can't get us to at least one more win, which is 10 wins, which means he's got to win the next 2, then it's a failure this season from my standpoint, because the foundation was already there, and then they gave you Tyreek Hill and Teron Armstead, and if you can't build on that, I'm not knocking McDaniel and tearing him down, because I do think he has attributes, just like Esther said, Lakers. But yeah, a lot of the hate for Flo and all that might have been premature. And remember what I said about propaganda, and I said this when Flores got fired. They put out the non-collaborative thing as a preemptive strike, propaganda-wise, messaging-wise, because they knew there was going to be backlash from the fan base, because the guy had 2 winning seasons in a row. And look, he lost a bunch in a row early in both seasons, so he's not the class of the coaches in the league, but he was having success, so they put that out. Then he does the lawsuit to try to counterpunch. Maybe none of that was necessary. Maybe they didn't have to, be derogatory to him. Maybe he wouldn't have filed the lawsuit. We wouldn't have lost the first rounder. I don't know, but in hindsight, it sure does look like, forget tossing shade on McDaniel. Let's just be real, like Esther said about the organization. This is an indictment of them. And keep going, Lakers.
Yeah, and when Tua was in college, right? Ross and Greer, they were at the games. You know what I'm saying? They were like watching him warm up.
Yes.
There was like a video or a picture of him, of them watching him warm up.
Wow.
So yeah, what you can look it up. So
Yeah.
it's like, bro, it's like I don't think it was Flores. For me, I don't think Flores wanted him. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it was Ross and Greer that wanted him because of the Nick Saban, you know what I'm saying, the Alabama ties and all that stuff. Like, have you ever, other than, you know what I'm saying, Alabama quarterbacks, they're good, but they're not great. You know what I'm saying, other than Jalen Hurts.
For Hurts.
I'd like to make a side point to this, to be honest, and so when this Flores, and I agree with Estefan, Lakers all day, I think everyone on this panel agrees that, like, in hindsight, the whole Flores firing doesn't really seem just, considering our record now versus then, right? With all the talent. But I do recall it happening by surprise, and I'm not going to mention by name. Larry, you mentioned this host many times. It's a big-time host. This host went on a complete campaign against Brian Flores, boosting Tua. And honestly, I stopped listening to this guy because he lost all credibility. He would insult me when I'm listening to him, call me a moron for my opinions, and really at the end of the day, that guy's the freaking moron. That guy had a huge campaign against Flores. That guy, and in all respect, has some type of connection here, and he has some influence, and something happened, and Flores is gone, and now we got Tua, and nothing against Mike, because I actually think Mike is a good coach, but yeah, please, Pam.
No, like I'm just like kind of blown away by what you're saying. Like I literally am blown away by what you're saying, that somebody on YouTube is gonna have that much influence over what happens in this organization. And not that I don't think that they ought to listen to us as fans, they should. But I think one of the biggest things that I'm concerned about now is that we have this high-powered offense. We have these guys, and we can't keep them that long. We only have the guys we have for a short period of time, and we can't leave them hanging. They're going to jump ship too. Like we have to. But that, John, like that blows me away. And I'm sorry to hear somebody's calling you a moron. I'm in shock.
To be honest
a lot of
with
people
you,
morons.
yeah, no, it's a general, like, if I have a different opinion, like 1,000 other people, we are all blanket morons, and it's just like the insults flow to the point, and then he goes like, "You shouldn't listen to me," and I go, "You know what? You're right." Click, unsubscribe. Never heard you again. Thank you, and I feel great for it. But now I'm looking back and I'm thinking, boy, who's the moron now? Like I feel a little justified. Unfortunately, I wish that dude was right, frankly.
Right.
But
Me too.
Can I say something real quick to Pamela's point?
Yes.
Contracts will be up. Ross is getting old. He don't got long to live. Time's ticking. We don't have time for somebody that is always going to be under concussion protocols. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. And to the point about the host, you know, at the end of the day, I actually think, and Joe Shad asked him this, I think he has connections to the front office. I think he's getting fed things from Greer's camp is what I actually think. So he saw the writing on the wall is what I think, because the organization was headed that way. But to your point, John, I agree with everything you said there. And I started kind of listening more mid-season because I was like, well, maybe he was right. And now it's funny because he finally started to admit that Tua was struggling down the stretch and finally started to own it until the concussion thing, and that's why I did not listen. Cap was asking me in the chat if I listened today, and the answer was no, because I heard him pivot yesterday, first thing, and I turned it off because I don't need the nonsense propaganda about the concussion and
frankly,
everything else.
Complete political stuff, and it's just, man. Anyway, so I had to bring that up because I thought it was a big influence on this fan base, and that came from a trusted source. Frankly, a trusted source who had proven himself over Tannehill. So that's really what jacked me up about it. So
yes, and he's a huge source, big time.
Hey, Larry, and you know what else?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so look, Tyreek Hill had Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yes.
And now, like, you know what I'm saying, he comes down here and he has Tua, right?
Yeah.
So we don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, the people don't understand that Tyreek Hill knows what a great quarterback is.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows what a great quarterback is to throw him the ball. And now, you know what I'm saying, he has Tua, you know what I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying, he I feel like he took like he took like a step down, you know what I'm saying, for like picking us because of the quarterback we had.
Yes.
And I feel like he's gonna realize that once his, you know what I'm saying, like, he doesn't really go far because of our quarterback's not that good no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. That's how I feel like it is.
No, and I agree with you, bro.
I agree too.
Who was talking? Who was about to say something?
I was going to say, bro, we brought Tyreek Hill in after going for Patrick Mahomes. If Tyreek Hill has to keep dealing with this nonsense, do you think he'll just demand it and get upset?
Yeah,
I think eventually he will, bro. Yeah. He ain't staying here for 3 years.
Usually,
it's already happened, he was mad on the sideline. He was yelling after that third pick.
I believe it, bro.
And I'm already hearing, I mean, look, man, you don't have to believe, but I'm already hearing that there's already stuff going on in the locker room.
Yeah. I heard the same thing about, you know, and I told you, Larry, you know, what I saw on the sidelines with the defense taking the field after that second or third interception. I'm telling you, I saw something. It's not like I'm not used to looking at him. It's not like I didn't see him take the field over and over. I'm telling you, there was a difference when they took the field that time. Their attitude, they were not happy. It was a thing.
Yeah,
yes,
you know,
and
like, this defense seen my bad, Larry, but like, you know what I'm saying, like, this defense seen Tua in practice all year and the year before that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get tired after a while. You know what I'm saying?
Well, remember, and I reported on this last season when Omar Kelly said, I think it wasn't on the Big O, it was him and Barry Jackson or somebody had their own show before Omar left. And Omar said, I have talked to guys in the locker room. The belief isn't there. They said, if we got to go up against Allen and Mahomes, and this is our guy, how are we going to do it? Omar reported that last year. Now, look, I've said I just report what's going on the field. Tua showed out middle of the season. I know the teams, we could debate that. I don't want to anymore. There's no reason to. But I was like, okay, maybe all these guys are wrong. And I'm sure, honestly, some of the players on the field, because they were hyping them up too, everybody who's human, some of the players on the field thought maybe they were wrong. Okay, maybe this guy came and brought the best out of him, and he can do it. But now I'm sure most of them, just like most of us, you have to adjust to the reality that you're seeing. I'm sure most of them are feeling now, again, like dejected. Like, how can we win with this guy? Because of the bad play down the stretch. It's human, and it's going to happen. I'm sure they said it last year. I'm sure they're saying it now. Might have had a little blip in midseason, but you know what? Dude, other quarterbacks who are not great have had 5-game runs of greatness and never panned out to anything. Just because he had the 5 games of greatness doesn't mean anything when you look at his December history and his overall history. And I'm not just sitting here trying to bash a young man who's going through a concussion, who's a good person, all that stuff. But this is football. We are fans. We are tired of mediocrity. You could have picked Herbert. He was right there. I don't want to go back into hindsight and all that. But at the end of the day, if he's not it, you got to find a way to pivot and move on. You can keep him, but you better bring in Minshew or Jimmy G to compete with him. Don't sell us the bag of goods again. Because competition brings out the best in everybody too. Maybe he plays better if he's got competition. But don't trot him out again like everything's fine. Don't do that to me.
Larry,
I think he looks like he plays better with competition.
Hold on, we got 2 people. Pam, you first, then Esther.
So to me, he doesn't look like he plays better in big competition. He did play well. I won't say great, but good against Buffalo. He did.
Yep.
But where the game he looked best in was Cleveland. That's where he looked like he was master of his world, right? Like he looked amazing. But against San Fran, and that was a game I said in preseason. That was a game I was worried about. I thought from the very beginning San Fran was going to be in the Super Bowl, and I'm not so sure I'm wrong on that. He was horrible in that
really
game.
Bad.
I mean, he looked like he had never had the job before. So I'm not sure he's so great against tough competition.
Good point, Pam. Esther?
No, I was going to say I wouldn't have mind. I'd rather had Gardner Minshew this year instead of Teddy for a vet QB. I think he's got more dog in him, and I think he would have pushed to it more than what Teddy did, because Teddy seems like he got paid and he's content. I mean, he looked like he gave up to me at certain points during the season when he was in. It looked like he didn't really have a passion for football. So, but I mean, I could be wrong. But I really do like the possibility of Gardner coming in and challenging for that spot, man. I mean, I'm talking worst case scenario, but I mean, you got to go for the top guys first. And well, if you don't land one, then I mean, I don't think he's that bad of a consolation with what I was gonna say. Going into this weekend, I'd rather have Skyler start because I would already start prepping for next year. I want to see what the kid has. I know he's got intangibles. Yeah, man, I really don't want to see Teddy. You know what I mean? I mean, you got to look at what the possibility is and the reality of the situation. Like I just don't see us beating Kansas City in the first round. I think we'll be out. So this weekend for me, it's all based on these running backs. I think Wilson, Mostert, and Ahmed are the key to winning this weekend. If you're starting Teddy, I don't feel comfortable with him. I just don't think that he can seal the deal at the end, man. I'd rather see what Skyler can give me and implement the run game. And as long as they have a commitment to the run game, I think we got a chance this weekend. But, I mean, what's this fan base going to be like come Monday if we lose to the Patriots and they take our playoff spot? All they got to do is beat them.
I'll tell you right now, Esther, I already feel like we're going to lose because I'm not saying that. I'm just saying my mentality is already like I'm just watching out of sheer morbid curiosity. So if they win, I'll kind of say, oh, that's kind of fun. That's a blip in the radar. Now we have another game to see. But I'm not like going to be, oh, yeah, this is our year, or let's like really take a step because of this whole quarterback thing. I just wanted to point out that Jason Voorhees is now under the name Scummy, and he's posted that Minshew looked great, albeit on a phenomenal Eagles team. And that's my actual point. I just want to make a quick point. I want to get the panel's thoughts. I don't think it's realistic at this juncture to think that we're going to get like a huge name quarterback next year. What I do think is a realistic possibility is getting a mid-tier quarterback. If that's Jimmy, my top two are Jimmy G and Minshew. And here's the reason, and this is the reason I put our friend Scummy up here, is I think that with the talent on the offensive side of the ball on this team at present, and you can definitely patch up the defense relatively easily, in my opinion. And the way you do that is by drafting a couple guys and guys coming back from injury. You cut some of the dead weight. You got Trill Williams coming back. Kohu has been a revelation. Yeah, so now you're looking at somebody like Minshew who looked great on the Eagles. Guys, our team and our weapons aren't that far from them. Put Minshew or anybody capable, give him the keys to the car. It's not ideal, but we can't hope for the stars when it's not realistic. Bring somebody that's realistic, and I still think you can contend with a guy as long as he can play in December, and he's got, like Esther put it, I like that word, and that's a great word that is used around football circles these days, who has the dog in him. And Minshew has the dog in him. Jimmy G's injury prone too, but hey, he's made it in December and January. So give me somebody like that with this talent. Yeah.
And by the way,
man, I gotta say something.
Just real quick. By the way, Scummy is the OG. He's been on a lot of Dolphin platforms. That's Mike Myers, not Jason Voorhees.
Oh, my bad. I don't know why. And it was funny when I was saying Jason Voorhees, I was like, it can't be right. It can't be right. Then I just came out. You're right. It was Mike Myers. Mike, you're still alive. I know they tried to kill you this October. It's great to see you. But Esther, what were you saying?
And I don't fault a quarterback for making the throws with a good offensive line. There are times where our offensive line is giving Tua protection and he's doing nothing with the ball. So we've already seen Minshew do it beforehand with the Jags, and that offensive line wasn't that good. He was balling with the Jags. He gave good performances. Who's to say with a mind like McDaniel that he can't roll with Minshew? I'm just saying, I mean, like, you really got to look like how much do you want this team to win if you're a fan.
He can.
I would be excited with Minshew, bro. That would get me excited. Well, and he's not some huge name, but that would get me excited. John, go ahead.
Larry, yesterday you had hit on it, and it got me thinking a little bit. And it's an interesting position that we find ourselves in this offseason as far as recruiting talent, specifically quarterback talent. We right now have an offense ready to go. If you want to insert QB here, see what you do. I think, and so you had said, I think there's going to be quarterbacks literally lining up to play in this offense. And that does include with Mike McDaniel, Estefan, to your point. So maybe it is a good idea to roll it back with him. I think it depends on what he does in these last two games. But let's face it, folks, we are actually in a very interesting position to where quarterbacks are literally looking at the Dolphins and saying, oh yeah, I hope they're interested in me because I'm interested in them. And Minshew, look, I'll tell you what, the guy came out of Washington State. He played under Mike Leach, okay? Yeah.
R.I.P. legend.
And basically a five wide receiver set type offense. It was just pass. Granted, this is college. This was in Washington State, which is very, very cold. I'd say comparable to probably Minnesota, well, maybe not that cold, but it's cold as heck over there. Way different from the western part of the state, all right? So this guy played in freezing rain, snow, super below zero temperatures. There is no doubt this guy's ready to step in and take control. And he scores a lot of points. Frankly, he makes some mistakes, but he scores enough points with any decent offense Heck, with this freaking Maserati of an offense, this guy should be able to put up, and I'm not exaggerating, I think 38 to 40 points, probably game's realistic with a guy like him. Boy, that's a big take. But I think so. I think, Pam, you agree too?
I agree with you. Yeah, because it's like you said, it's a Maserati of an offense. And to your point, Larry, we do get some hurt players back on defense. And I'm not even sure we need to do anything adding to the defense. I mean, it's always nice to get somebody else, but who we have and how they've developed and maybe not being used exactly as they should be. Some of the play calling on defense, I question a little bit, but with this offense and Gardner Minshew, watching him the other night, because I give a lot of credit to Hurts. Jalen Hurts makes that offense look really good. I'm not sure that they're that amazing without him, but Gardner stepped right in there and looked really well. Mm-hmm. But also, let's not forget that Lamar wants to be in Miami. And we have, as John said, this Maserati offense. People are going to want to be here. We've got the defense, we've got the coach, we've got everything we need. If we can get past whatever cloud we're under right now, whatever's going on. But I agree, John, 100%.
And I want to. Sorry, Greg, please go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, no matter if Tua returns, retires, or whatnot, what I believe the Miami Dolphins need to do, they need to have all options on the table at quarterback. Lamar should be number one. I know that's unrealistic, Larry, but you got to have him on the list. Rodgers, Brady, Derek Carr, Jimmy G, all the quarterbacks, make a list.
Yes, you got to kick the tires. And
everyone's saying we don't have money for Lamar. I guarantee you, if the Ravens want too much or he signs and whatnot, then if they want too much, you can't do it. Like if it's too much, you can't do it. But if they're asking for like reasonable players, you can do it. The cap. I seen the freaking what's it called? The Saints. They go from negative cap to positive cap. It is doable to get Lamar. So stop with the nonsense. We don't have money. Well, but yeah, let's say Lamar is unrealistic. You got to go after. You got to make a list. You got to go after. No matter if Tua retires or stays, you got to have a list of guys you want to target.
And I'd like to make a counter argument to Lamar. And this isn't a Dolphins counter argument. This is more of a Lamar counter argument. Why does he want to go to a team that is basically going to sell everything out for him for 1 or 2 years and they'd be completely broke with no cap? And granted, I get you kick all these things down the road, but why does Lamar thinking short-term Lamar here? Or is Lamar thinking long-term Lamar? I think he's thinking long-term. So unless he could come here and be certain that it's not going to turn into a Baltimore situation, yeah. I'm not sure he does it. So honestly, we might want Lamar, and Lamar may have said Miami. Is that honestly his agent going to sit back and say, yeah, 5 years in Miami, that's a good move. Take your 40 mil, let's roll. Or is he going to say, woo, boy, let's think about this for a minute. There might be a better fit for Lamar than Miami. Sure. I'm just saying we might not be his top suitor. Maybe for 1 or 2 years we are. Long term, that's what Lamar's looking for. Are we right? I don't know.
Good point. And I still wonder, especially with this new concussion thing and the narratives being pushed. And remember, Big O, I still think he's connected. Either he's connected to them or they're connected to him.
He's connected.
He's pushing the narrative, which makes me think the narrative's there. I see them bringing in somebody who could be seen as competition and beating Tua out. Are they going to go out and grab a Lamar? Then they have to move Tua. Tua's not going to sit there as the backup. That's just not how it works with these kind of players and their agents and their hype machines. It might happen. We might move Tua and do a big, another groundbreaking, earth-shattering, transaction off season, but I don't know how likely that is. I just don't.
Well, I mean, let me say something to that too. Look, granted, I know there's a human side behind Tua, which none of us know him personally. Yeah. We don't see him at practice. I don't call him on the phone at 10 o'clock at night. I don't have that connection.
I do, John.
Pam, then you might.
Pam's private life is nobody's concern.
Even she's turned on the guy. So, but no, if you really think about it, what do we see? We see Sunday Tua, and what the hell? I hope that's okay to say.
That's fine.
Are we thinking here about giving this guy potentially a 5th year or something like that? Are we not seeing clearly? Are we actually going to our personal side with the guy? Because my Sunday connection with Tua says, oh, no, I could get, what is it, Mr. Irrelevant? Literally. I can get Mr. Irrelevant to beat you this year, Tua. So what the heck are you worth to me other than maybe off a Sunday? You're just such an amazing guy and you make me smile and you spread love in my heart. Okay, I want to keep you around. But do I, as a Dolphin fan, want to sit there and watch you play? What does this GM, what does this front office see in the guy? I'm so freaking baffled and confused. So if we bring him back, what the heck is going on? It ain't because of Sunday. I promise you that. So then it's political, something else completely than a true fan would care about.
They don't want to be wrong. They committed.
Yeah.
They don't want to be wrong.
That's true.
And there's a lot riding on it. And you got to remember, Tuanon is real. As much as we don't want to pay attention to it or give it any credence, Stephen Ross is all about
the glitz.
Me, and you guys see, Greg finishes my sentence because I've said it so much. It's so true. He's all about the glitz and the public perception. That's why he didn't get Deshaun, because he didn't want the pushback, which, by the way, I'm not saying he's not playing great this year, but he would be coming back next year and he's a stable guy. Cleveland isn't having a whole bunch of protests or nonsense. I'm just saying, whatever your personal opinions, it's fine. Everybody's entitled to them. I'm not trying to get into it. I'm just saying he made that decision based on publicity and things. In fact, remember the report. Stephen Ross tried to pressure these women who are victims or whatever you want to say into settling just so he, like, Stephen Ross didn't care about the women or taking a moral stand or the play on the football field. He cared about publicity, negative. He wanted him to settle it before he got in to thwart the publicity. So the reason I bring that up, and not to get excited, is just I do think a factor with Tua, and I hope we overcome it, but I don't know, is the team is looking at Tuanon, and they're looking at the merchandise they're selling and the Pro Bowl voting and all the other nonsense that doesn't necessarily connect to anything tangible on the field, but that does get a certain kind of group of people riled up, and he's going to keep an eye on that as well. Now, I just wanted to point to what DTA said and get some thoughts. He said we need a passer, not a scrambling running back QB. I kind of agree with that, too, and I love Lamar, and I love his game. He would take us to a new height just because of his threat. He's a former MVP, great player, but is this team built for a scrambling quarterback who runs more, or is it built for a pocket passer who's going to distribute the ball? That's an honest question.
Well, let me bring this into the fold. I remember when Mike McDaniel first got hired, he talked about how he designed a game plan specifically for RG3. So if he designed one for RG3, he'll have one for Lamar Jackson.
That's a good point, Shake. That's good.
True.
But what I'd really love to see is us get somebody, like, I don't know where Skylar is. You know what I mean? Like, as far as his development, I don't know. To me, when I watch that kid, he looks amazing. Now, I don't know if it's lack of experience, like I said, with the ones. I don't know, but do we need somebody to come in for a year? Yeah.
Look, Pam, I mean, the thing is, honestly, it gets back to this whole political junk and not being wrong. Let's face it. We all honestly believe in our hearts that Tua and Skylar are, who knows who's better, but they're at least comparable. We've seen it. We believe it. I mean, who does Skylar going to come out and do worse in December than Tua? I mean, let's be frank here. But so what I don't really understand is Skylar's the 7th. And he's also a pick of the team. So wouldn't it also, okay, if Tua's a bust, so be it. But if Skylar's a find, then that's kind of like give and take, and that's all forgiven in my world. You found our quarterback. But here's the problem. They're not even putting the guy in. They're not giving him a fair week of preparation. That is the big question. So I'm coming to the conclusion, and Larry, Larry, you're on fire, boy. You're hitting it all, man. You had mentioned Mike McDaniel's out here to probably save his job. And maybe Skylar is just a little rough around the edges, and he doesn't quite trust him as he does Teddy. So I think Mike McDaniel is not making a move for the franchise. Is not making a long-term Dolphin decision. Mike McDaniel, just like every other Dolphin coach we almost ever had, is making a short short-term decision to save his ass. Because I'm telling you right now, if Teddy Bridgewater comes out and beats the Patriots, I'm going to be on record right now and say he gonna do it. Okay, it's going to be hard for this guy not to be. And I think I don't believe in Teddy at all. Honestly, he's on the same level as Tua is me. But I also believe in this team. I still think this coach could put together a game plan. This defense could play. And I thought I wanted to think about this. The team probably loves Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, look at the guy. He's a vet. They probably love him. So if they get the opportunity to go out there and play for this guy this weekend, say they really don't believe in Tua. And so that's the other side of this. I think we're going to win. Say they don't believe in Tua, and then Teddy's coming in, a breath of fresh air. Hey, they see this guy in the field. He's smooth. He's talking. He's joking. Oh, hell yeah, having a good time. He hits some passes in practice. They seen him in a game. You know what? This team might have some life to them. So I actually think we go into Foxborough. I think whether it's Teddy or Skyler, I think we're going to win this thing. I think we're going to go to the playoffs. I really do. But I don't believe in Teddy. And also, I don't think Teddy winning this weekend or us making the playoffs honestly does anything good for this franchise long term, unless it's Skyler getting us to that point. So it's like it's kind of bittersweet for me. I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to get there. And what, Larry, did you say? I don't know who the hell said it. Well, we're just going to pop in Tua in that playoff game, get up some draft value. Or no, we're not going to get up draft value because we're idiots. We're going to get him in there. We're going, damn, that looked good. Run it back.
Yes, that's what I'm worried about. And John, you know what? Back to your first point about the find of Skyler, dude. They need you in that room where they're coming up with messaging, and I'm not kidding, because somebody has to come up with angles and say, hey, what about spinning it this way? That's what they're doing. They're spinning things, and whether they win or lose, they're always spinning something to somebody because coaches have resumes. They want promotions. Scouts want promotions. They want to be GMs. Teams want to sell tickets next year. Teams want to look good. Everybody wants to look good all the time, so they're always looking for angles to spin. That's a hell of an angle. I don't think they're seeing it right now because I think you're also right on the second point you made, which is what I said the other night on the Finn's Tailgate, is McDaniel's worried about making the playoffs because it's a catastrophic failure after starting 8-3 to miss the playoffs, especially with the way the playoff race is now. He's going with what he believes, and we're not in practice. We don't know. What he believes is obviously the steady veteran hand because he doesn't want to put the wild card and take a risk on testing out Skyler because the fact is, if he doesn't make the playoffs, I think there's a realistic possibility that such a massive failure, he may lose his own job.
And here's another thing that you got to consider too. Teddy Bridgewater went to Miami Northwestern High. Miami Northwestern High is a high school in Liberty City, Florida, which pumped out a lot of NFL talent. So at the end of the day, he is a hometown hero.
True.
So I call him ST, Safety Teddy. That's what he.
Yeah, it makes sense, man.
ST, he's Safety Teddy, and I mean, if he gets another safety, I'm just gonna have a heart attack. That boy better not get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. Do whatever you got to do, son. Don't take another safety. Oh my gosh!
I don't want to sound like a pessimist, but I don't feel good about this weekend, man.
Come on, Cap.
I don't feel good, man. I don't feel good. Look, we're in New England. We're in New England. The defense is pretty good. And Teddy has shown nothing. I agree with John. I think he's given up. I agree with John. He doesn't look like he wants to be out there.
Teddy to look like Teddy Dogwater so Skyler can get in the game, man.
Exactly.
That's the only thing I can really look forward to.
Good point, Greg.
It's too late for that. And that's my problem is I was really hoping the team would go with Skyler. I mean, I want to see him so freaking bad. I mean, give the guy a shot. Whether he falls on his face or not, at least we can see it, you know?
If I'm McDaniel, I'm cutthroat this weekend. I mean, if I have one bad possession with Teddy, I'm bringing in Skyler. I'm not even waiting.
Somebody brought up the point about whenever Teddy threw that, didn't get back to the line of scrimmage, and he got the safety, and he supposedly showed concussion symptoms, and he's out after one play, and there's Skyler gets dumped in on the 1 yard line, backed up to the 1 yard line. the play call was a pass. To me, that says McDaniel trusted him, right? So somebody was bringing up that point. That wasn't a run play, like let's get a little room. That was a pass play.
Well, I'll say this too. To Pam's point, though, well, this is what I'm going to say about this whole situation with Skyler. It's just my take. Skyler looked good against the Jets. Okay,
he did.
We almost won that game, but remember, after that, Skyler was promoted to the number 2. He was coming in getting the reps. He started against the Vikings and got pulled. Then against Houston, he came in the second half. But at some point, Skyler didn't look as great as he did against the Jets anymore, and now Teddy's been elevated back. So I think your point is accurate, Pam, that he did trust him. I think he got promoted after that because he did look good, but then at some point during the stretch, I think there was another time he went in a relief duty.
Got hurt,
didn't look great. He got hurt against the Vikings, but then I think he came in again at some point when Tua was dinged up at the end of a half or something, and then he came in again against Houston, and I know Houston was just dominating the line at that time, but he did, for whatever reason, he didn't look as good as against the Jets, and then they shuffled it again. So I think that goes into McDaniel's decision. But I did like him against the Jets. I do still like him. Just saying, I think that's why it did shuffle. Like, he did promote him and then demote him again.
If I can make a quick point about Skyler, we still have not seen Skyler play a game with Terrell Armstead, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. We still haven't seen that yet. Maybe something's different, but if we see him with those three, maybe Skyler could, show everybody why he should be number 1.
I agree.
And Brad, to your point, the whole offensive line play has gotten better over the season, and you could also say the same thing for Teddy. But Teddy also did not get the play with the better offensive line. So that is where the plug and play quarterback theory comes in, that this offense is good enough. We need a decent plug and play quarterback to come in and make some plays.
And let's make another point here, because and I listened to I'm gonna call that again. I listen, and this Sunday is going to be another defining factor of the opinion of this other YouTuber. Okay, is when Teddy was brought in to be a backup. You guys are idiots. The guy will never start. Blah blah blah. Teddy is nothing, right? So when Teddy does come in, and I believe he comes in he's playing Mac Jones, folks. We've seen Mac Jones. Teddy is better than Mac Jones.
Yes.
And that's the freaking fact here. And this team is better than the Patriots. I believe we go out and win. And when this team goes out and win, and we win it with Teddy, and we all know we're going to lose this game with Tua. No one has freaking confidence in the guy. Whether we have a fourth quarter lead, a fourth quarter or down, it doesn't matter. It doesn't seem like it's going to work out in the fourth quarter. This Teddy guy is going to be different. And when he's going to go out there and win the game, I'm not going to listen, but I'm going to be very curious as to what the spin factor is to why Teddy could step into this spot and win just like Tua did. Now, I'll eat my words next Wednesday if we lose, but I don't think so. I mean, I think Teddy's going to win this. I think this team is so good. Our weak spot is our quarter, even the offensive line. Everyone was so worried about it, and myself included. Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg, I haven't even seen these dudes. And it doesn't even matter because this offensive line is doing its job. We're not seeing our quarterbacks getting blown up. In fact, we're seeing plenty of time. And to Tua's credit, the guy is a master in the pocket. He truly is. Probably he might be one of the best I've ever seen in the pocket maneuvering. He's very good. And my comparison is Ryan Tannehill. We all see how that goes. You're sitting there for 4 seconds, like, move. And that guy would just get buried, right? Tannehill, he's like, whoop, 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 boom. Yes. But anyway, so I think just our offensive line, honestly, even this year has never been an issue. And our running game's actually getting better. So
the interior of our offensive line was the issue. And Eichenberg was starting just because of his draft capital that was used to get him. And I think Tua, I'm just going to say two things. That's why the offensive line got better the minute that guy went out. It was a blessing in disguise that the guy got hurt, but he was playing because of what they gave up in the draft. And I think that was direct orders from Greer. That's what I believe. I don't care if nobody believes it, because that guy is not athletic. He is not talented. He's not fleet-footed. He is horrible out in space, and he's not good inside. So where do you put him? He's too tall to be a center. He's a backup. He should have never been in the starting lineup, if you ask me. And I think this whole thing with Tua and the concussion, I think it's all BS. I think it's all PR, so that they don't have to come out publicly and say that Tua's benched. Tua's getting benched. That's what's happening, and they're just saying that it's a concussion. So,
well, it's
I
confirmed
agree.
by a doctor, but I agree on both.
I'm
So,
just
John, I
curious
just have
medically.
to,
You go ahead.
sorry.
Jen.
I was just going to correct John on one thing. We're
Oh.
playing the Cheatriots. We're playing the Cheatriots on Sunday. Let me just make sure you understand. It's the Cheatriots.
And the Bella cheats. I got
Barfalo,
you.
the Bella cheats.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, Barfalo, forgot. Yeah. I'm with you.
I just want to. I'm genuinely curious, and I'm not casting aspersions. I'm genuinely curious, and I will research and find this out. You know, with the diagnosis of the concussion, I do believe that the doctors diagnosed him with a concussion or concussion symptoms. My question is, again,
Confirmed concussion.
Yes, like how, with the specificity to when it occurred. Because like I said, I can break my toe 3 weeks ago, going to the doctor. He'll be able to diagnose a broken toe. But is his opinion, I'm sure they can do it with some accuracy in terms of this wasn't recent, right? This is semi-healed but just because they confirmed the concussion, just because McDaniel confirmed the concussion, I'm still curious about some of the facts. We probably will never get them, but just because they confirmed it, we don't know when it occurred. We don't know if it was the specific play that went around in Twitter. We don't know if he's diagnosing a concussion that occurred like the one we saw in October. I'm not saying anybody's lying. I just wonder again, you can play with words and you can play with, analysis and the way you say things to get to where you want to go. And I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I wonder, just because he was diagnosed with concussion or concussion-like symptoms, if he necessarily had one on that specific play that everybody's just assuming he did. That's what I'll just add to
Great
that.
point. I heard you saying that, and I thought, wow, I never thought about that, but that is a great point.
Right.
Well, if you really think about it, it does seem really suspicious that they would diagnose a concussion and it appears that it probably would have happened that Sunday, but they're diagnosing it a day later. So Larry, it opens up the thought process to really what's going through Tua's mind. Is he being sent over there? Is he telling them, hey, my head hurts a little bit, I was hit on the play, can you look at this? Is he going over there saying, nothing's wrong, I don't even know what I'm doing here, I need to get back out there with my team, we're watching film study? Like, I think that's a dynamic that we're not necessarily discussing here. And so I'm going to go back. I said earlier, it's pretty rare, I believe, that someone comes up with concussion supposedly the day after a game. So you really got to start to question the motivations of our quarterback. Now, I don't want to sell myself out, okay? But I played football before, and I played high school ball, and I've been wrung the hell out during the practice field, right? And I had to basically admit it. And you kind of and I had to admit it because I was getting pounded out there. I got hit, and then I got dazed, and then the next play came my way and I got hit again, and I just wasn't the same guy. And I had to say it to the coaches. I am not feeling right. But at the end of the day, it was true. I wasn't feeling right, but it was also kind of an excuse for my play. Now, I was just a high schooler. This guy's got a lot of pressure on him. He looked like crap for 4 weeks in a row. He just lost a game against Green Bay he should have won. He's a young kid. I mean, he's honestly, he's not much above high school. Frank, a little above college.
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah, he's a young guy. So you got to think the pressure of that moment, and then maybe he really is jacked, and maybe he really did play bad, and then he's thinking, I need an out here. I'm scared. He's scared probably for his career. This don't look good. So I gotta sympathize with him in that respect. That I think this is actually legit in a way, but it's also a built-in excuse. And I've used it before, so I don't want to be such a huge hypocrite of the guy.
Well, I'll say this too. I actually, we're all theorizing and speculating, so it's not really an argument with you. It's just the way I see it is. I actually think, based on the reporting and based on the initial language of admitted, now Barry saying that McDaniel asked him and then encouraged him to go see a doctor who put him in protocol. I think Tua's played terribly, but I actually think the ones looking for an excuse and covering their butts are the league and the team. Because it sure reads to me like first with admitted, then with Jackson coming out and saying McDaniel said he encouraged him to go to a doctor. I actually think Tua was just going about his business and just going to play again. And they were like, because of the media hype and the Twitter, I'm still saying it's Twitter, they said, Tua, you got hit. You see this video? You sure you don't feel crappy? You sure? And first I thought he admitted, yes, I do. But now based on McDaniel said he sent him to a doctor, and the doctor, of course, is going to send him right into protocol. Now, I don't think Tua went and said, I feel great. But I think when they pushed him to go to the doctor, let's be honest, after the media hype earlier in the season, anytime they're going to show Tua on tape getting hit like that, and it's on Twitter, they're putting him in protocol. I don't care if he's like, I feel like $1 million. They're like, you're going to protocol. So I actually think he admitted, yeah, well, I feel this or that. And they're like, okay, protocol. I don't put it on him. I think the team and the organization, that's what I've been saying from jump, they, because of the Twitter hype, because remember, Twitter hype came up that night. Tua didn't say anything in the press conference. He took ownership. The coaches didn't say anything. All of a sudden, Twitter starts percolating Sunday night. And then all of a sudden, by Monday night, he's in protocol. And then Tuesday night, he had a concussion. It's all coming from the organization, not him. I think they pushed him, like, go see a doctor. Doctor's like, you sure? Have you had this? Are you a little bit dizzy? Yeah, I'm a little bit dizzy. All right, protocol. Like, so for all the crap, I don't think he played well. I actually don't think it's him consciously saying, I'm coming with the excuse. I think the organization is taking it as an opportunity to pivot the narrative and use it as an excuse and simultaneously cover their ass. Because of the hype.
Damn, Larry, you just blew my mind.
Whole video, whole video, CYA. That is exactly right. 100%.
And that's why admitted versus what he said today, encouraged. The only one who was the outlier was Schefter saying self-reported. But I told you, he's the NFL's errand boy. So he's like, no, he's self-reported. And they got right in. They don't want to admit, like, no, the NFL called the Dolphins, who told the coach, go ask him. But that goes on. Somebody, if I saw it on Twitter, somebody in the NFL or the media relations department in the Dolphins saw it on Twitter. Somebody, they're not just going to ignore it. They call yo, I think he got hit. Ask him. Get his ass in the protocol. That's what.
No, this is their excuse.
Yes.
This is great, Larry. Honestly, I was thinking about it completely different, and I've heard you talk about it 5 times. The time you just explained it finally got through my thick head. I agree with you completely, actually, at this point. So I'm going to eat some earlier words. I actually think this was forced by the organization.
Yes.
Now, sorry, Ebenezer Shake. I know you're a little grumpy today. I'm going to let you go ahead.
All right, that's one of the things I watch. I watch Mike Florio. One of the things that I like when he says is that he used to be a lawyer, and he's when he used to cross-examine, he always looked for tell signs. Me, with your background, did you see any of those tell signs in any of the press conferences or things like that?
So, wait, are you saying that did we see?
So like when you watch the press conferences and stuff like that, do you look for tell signs? Like Mike Florio says, being that
I see what you're saying.
No, there's tell signs in my book.
They'll have tell signs. I see. Like poker.
So
there was.
So here's the thing about me. Yes, I'm a current lawyer, and I'm a investigative lawyer who like does jury trials and whatnot. So yes, I cross-examine, I investigate crimes, and I'll say no, I don't go about my daily life or the daily life of a Dolphins fan and necessarily look for that regularly. But when something like this comes up, yes, I think like that, and I look for things like that, and the nuance of words and the way that things pop up is definitely like coincidences aren't. And I'm not I'm like anti-conspiracy. If you're listening to my podcast, Logic and Larry, I'm anti-conspiracy. But coincidences seem far-fetched sometimes. And when Twitter was percolating and the very next day they say he's in the protocol, I drew a connection to it. And the way that the NFL is, like with Teddy, with the spotter, putting him in protocol, overcautious, it just rings a bell. So I'm not necessarily, Shake, to answer your question, always doing that. But in situations like this, yeah, I put that cap on and I start looking at things like that. And when I see a pattern, I'm like, I think this is what's going on. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm right. But this particular situation, that's my theory. Whether I'm right or not, whatever. But Barry Jackson coming out today with that report seemed to give a lot of credence to my initial theory.
And looking at the interview, the posted today's interview with McDaniel, I'm telling you, I'm watching him and I'm listening to him, and the first thing I'm thinking is he can hardly get anything out. Like he's choking on his words. He's I mean, we know how he normally is.
Yep.
He's a little, funny with his words and a little hesitant. He thinks about what he says, but this seemed different to me. That was a good point, Shake, about the tell. That's a good way of putting it, because to me, when I saw that, I was like, ooh, something doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. I didn't see it, but that goes along with rehearsal. He's a genuine guy usually. So if there's a talking point, which it sure seems, watching the film like I do every day, like, okay, I didn't see Twitter. I always watch the film. Okay, bro. Like, if it was rehearsed and a talking point, he could have been stuttering and nervous because he's usually a genuine dude. Again, it just feeds that theory.
You know what I saw in that press conference today, Pam, and I completely agree with you. I saw a different Coach Mike, and he seemed awfully somber. Almost he was mourning Tua. I mean, I'm going to be dead honest with you.
He was.
He was
that's
like,
his boy. They're friends.
Yeah, and he was expressing his relationship with Tua, and I could see in the guy's eyes that Tua, Cap, hell yeah, man. Good to see you, buddy.
I love to see Cap, man. I love it.
I could see it in his eyes. I could hear it in his voice that he was sad. And also that pissed me off. That pissed me off, guys. Because I'm sitting here thinking, we got a chance at the playoffs. This guy's over here mourning Tua because it's not just political. He loves the guy. Honestly, it's got to be his favorite QB in the room. So regardless, he is blind to the truth. So when he comes out and he's all somber and all this about Tua, and look, I don't want to be insensitive to Tua. Let's be frank. I've got children. If they have concussion issues or if anyone else gets, it's a serious deal. But also, I'm a huge fan of the Dolphins, and I worry about that product on Sunday. If my guy can't go, I need the next one to step up because I don't want to risk injury to nobody. But look, he was so freaking somber, and it also made me think he's not in a clear mind to make an intelligent decision. He's not in a right mind to move forward with the next step that this team needs. I've moved on. This guy is obviously still in the morning stage.
Crying.
So,
he looked like he choked up and was like,
it wasn't right.
Anyone else
actually, the last time I seen McDaniel like that was after the Cincinnati game.
It was good. Larry, keep doing your thing. It's a good show.
Thanks, brother.
Shake, thanks for having me on. Cap, John, Pam, Greg, Anthony. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, Esther. Come back.
It doesn't look good for us, but it's not over till the fat lady sings. You never know if Skylar shows up, and it's Skylar time, baby. I'm out.
Later, bro.
And I don't even see a fat lady, Esther, so I think we're good.
I'll say, I think he does have deep emotion for the kid, and regardless of how the concussion thing came about, and regardless of how it was recognized, regardless of how it's being spun in the media, we obviously have sympathy for a young man who's playing hard, who's been hurt a couple times now, and who obviously has some type of symptoms and some type of, telltale sign that at some point he had concussions and he's gone through injuries. We obviously feel for him, but McDaniel, again, wasn't here to become Tua's best friend and just constantly coddle him. He was here to be the head coach of a team, and Tua even said, I really don't I put the bad play on Tua because he's just struggling, but obviously he doesn't want to struggle. I remember Tua saying a couple weeks ago that when he wants legitimate criticism, he has to go to Bevel because McDaniel is too positive and he can't actually get legitimate feedback from him. I don't even necessarily blame it all on Tua. There could be actual problem here where McDaniel is such a Pollyanna with this kid that he can't even get proper coaching and criticism from him. And Tua said it himself, so I'm not just speculating, and that could be a problem. I'm not trying to just take McDaniel's head off. I'm just saying part of Tua's struggles and part of him mourning, to your point, John, could be part of this, ultra investment into Tua, the person, which is nice and a great story, but isn't necessarily allowing him to have, the right vision for both Tua's struggles and the team and what the team needs. And it's just interesting. And I want to give Anthony the floor because he's been waiting patiently, but I just wanted to say that too.
That was a great point, Larry.
Great point. Thanks for having me. I'm sorry.
Thanks for being on, bro.
The first thing I want to say, dude, I try to stick up for Tua, but it's just not. I'm hurt, man, because it seemed like every time Tua is put in that time where he has to win the game, he let us down, and then all of a sudden we come back Monday. Oh, he had a concussion. Oh, he broke his shoulder.
Always
his
something.
ankle was hurting, and I'm like, all right, man, stop. You know what I mean? We're not coddling you no more, man. All right. We're getting tired of it. And I think what it is, Tua is just trying to find a way to get out of the spotlight again. And they're trying to coddle him again, put that bottle back in his mouth. I don't have time for that. Tua, you got to go. Another thing is, I think people, when I brought up before in the last episode, you were talking about him spot throwing, not reading the plays. I don't know if y'all noticed, but like after watching him play this last game, I don't know if anybody brought this up, but have y'all thought about like when Tua gets in a huddle and he calls these plays, does he know what the play is supposed like? Does he know the actual play? You know what I mean? I think a lot of times he just, I think Tyreek is going across the middle. Oh, I'm gonna throw it. Boom. I wonder. A lot of times when it's coming to that, I think it's him. He still don't know the plays. And,
I know what you're saying with the playbook and reading the field. It all goes. Sometimes it does look like desperation, and I don't know if it's frustration, if it's annoyance, if it's not knowing the progression. I don't know if it's just not wanting to. If he's pressing, he doesn't want to go short. I don't know, but he's certainly forced the ball more than once to Tyreek, and it's caused problems a lot this season.
And by that being said, I think if it keeps happening these next two games, McDaniels he's gonna end up. It's gonna come down to McDaniels or Tua. One of them two got to go.
What happened with Flo? That's what happened with Flo.
You know what I mean?
Anthony, you just hit on something I haven't really given a lot of thought to. Other than you just saying it, and I'm sitting here rewinding really quickly in my mind of everything, and you might be onto something. When a play is called, I'm not saying the guy doesn't remember it, but does he know all the routes of the play, or is he just concerned about one or two routes? And is that the only thing? So when those two break down, is this guy at a complete, not just mental, because. Look, if these two break down, it seems logical in my mind. I play Madden. I also live a normal life, and I drive in a car, right? This guy goes left, it goes right. I'm making a move. Like something's happening here. Right. Is it to the point to where, Anthony, to your point, is he just so focused, or is this maybe just the play he's looking at that he's forgetting about all the outside stuff? It just maybe it's not in his memory to execute the holy crap. My mind's been blown twice tonight, and that's pretty unusual. So Larry, Anthony, special tribunes to you guys. Thank you. I'm a better Dolphin fan now.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, and Larry, that's why I was going to ask you, like, is that what the problem is? I don't think that Tua he still does not know the playbook. And if you notice watching the game, it seems like we're running the same plays. You see Tyreek Hill go in motion. He goes halfway and runs back. It runs the same play. We just flip it. And I don't think we still have not opened that playbook up yet, because there's no way in the world that, with all these weapons and everything that we have, we go into a 4 or 5 game losing streak. And this it's not working right here. Something's got to give. And everybody.
Did you see the interview that Tua gave where he actually said he called the wrong play? He said that after the game on Sunday.
Yep. He sure did.
Great point, Anthony.
That's going to be a big. And right now we was at a good spot, and now we're trying to fight for our lives and try to stay in. And now it's to the point where, like, okay, what are we gonna do now? Everybody's talking about Bridgewater. Bridgewater's gonna do this. We're not gonna win without Tua. Bridgewater kept us in a lot of games. Like, a close game. Like, we played the Bengals. We could have beat the Bengals.
Yeah, he didn't play bad against the Bengals. To be fair, Skyler had a good game against the Jets, and he had a good game against the Bengals.
That's so fair.
And neither one of them expected to go in. So fair point. Both hostile environments. And I was at both games. Cincinnati was a more hostile environment, just being honest.
Wow.
Because the Jets. Whenever you go to a Jets game up here, there's a lot of Dolphins fans here. So there's a lot of us. It drowns them out. And the Jets weren't that inspired early in the year either. Cincinnati is all Cincinnati, and they are loud, man. Awesome fan base. I told you, really cool people, but way more hostile than New York. So, but they both played well one game, and they both played not well. So, interesting point to that you brought up. I wasn't even thinking about that, but it's true. He played well enough to almost beat Cincinnati that game too.
That's a great point. It really is. Actually, he came in relief, and man, now that I'm looking back on it, I mean, we were. I think we were so dejected from what we had saw
that we forgot.
Really, we had a chance in that thing,
did.
but when that happened, we were thinking, boy, we were 3-0, about to go 4-0. Our starting quarterback, look what happened to the guy. Season's over.
Yes.
Season is over.
We weren't
I
paying
didn't
attention.
care. I'm like, hand me that bottle. I don't even drink. Hand me that bottle. Hand me that beer. Let's go.
I don't want to give up on Tua because I think that Tua he shows a little bit of here and there. I mean, you can't just give up on the kid. If anything, what we should have, but it all boils back to when we first drafted Tua and we had Fitzpatrick. What we should have done is said, "Hey, look, Tua, we're gonna put you on the shelf and let you learn."
It was supposed to be that way for 1 year. That was the plan.
I don't know why they rushed him in.
You know what happened? And then he started.
Yeah. What happened was Herbert. Everybody was watching Herbert his rookie year, and they wanted to see. Oh, we need to see what we have. Let's let Tua
He wasn't ready,
and
he
Tua
wasn't
was
ready.
not ready.
Good point. That's more politics.
He wasn't even healthy yet.
And we all know where that came from. That came from the top. That sure as hell didn't come from our coach. And you know, we were all baffled because at that point, boy, that's the
team was baffled, bro.
Honestly, Larry, you had apologized for it earlier in an earlier deal on an earlier, like months ago. You know what? The Dolphins are really good during warm season. During the cold, we freaking blow it.
It's been a trend.
It was freezing in Miami on Sunday.
That's another thing. It was cold in Miami.
No, but it was not cold, guys.
No,
sorry,
it's not cold because up here,
44 in Miami is crazy.
Up here, it was like in the 20s or teens that day. But but my point is, that's a good point because it was technically still a cold weather game. Despite it being home, it was windy and gray and cold, and we still. But I don't look. I just watched the other day Ricky Williams highlights, and it's like snowing, and he's bawling, and Marino played good snow games.
That's our running game, though.
Yes.
Running game
But
survives in the cold weather.
My point is, we can win, but yes, it's going to be harder for us. But you got to have personnel that can play in the cold period.
Exactly.
And I know that. He slung it. He did sling it in the snow in Buffalo a little bit, but the dudes from Hawaii and all that, you're gonna have to get dudes who can play in the cold, because otherwise we're always gonna be playing in the cold late in the year. Everybody is. You got to be able to win, and teams have done it from Florida and California. It can be done, but yes, we struggled. And back to your point though about Fitz, that was a good season. You could tell like Fitz knew. I brought this up the other day. Fitz knew he was not the long-term answer, but the way he was so dejected. And the team was so dejected shows that it was unexpected. And also, if they had sat in practice all those weeks and they knew this kid's coming on and he's coming on strong, they wouldn't be so dejected because it would have been expected. The fact that they were so like blindsided shows they had seen Tua in practice and he wasn't ready. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so blindsided. So that was political. That shouldn't have happened.
Were you blindsided? I mean, were you dejected from that?
No, because so look, I didn't believe in Tua from jump, but I knew Fitz wasn't the answer long term because I'd seen Fitz crumble in New York. I'd seen Fitz crumble in Buffalo. So if you guys remember, Tua went in relief or because we were blowing somebody out. I think
I don't remember. The Jets game.
Yes.
Some game he went in and he threw a great 2-point conversion or something or a touchdown, and the throw looked really good. So I actually was intrigued when it happened. I was actually like, okay. Let's see what he's got because maybe he's coming on in practice. That throw looked good. Somebody even had a GIF out that said Flores after he saw Tua throw the pass or whatever, and it was somebody like, go in, or some meme, some GIF. I was kind of intrigued. Then the Arizona game, he looked like he did midseason this year. The Arizona game was like, wow, maybe there's some real promise to this kid. Then he started tumbling, and some of the players, I think it was on the Patriots, said, well, that's what Tua does. He just makes one read and flies. And all this stuff started to percolate, and then it came to a head in the Raiders game, and we had to literally pull him just to win that game and have a chance at the playoffs. Fitz had to throw the miracle to Hollins just to have a chance, and then it started to crumble because then he got destroyed in Buffalo, and then you saw it happen again in Tennessee, and now I was giving him the benefit of the doubt this year, but now it's again part 3. this December. So now it's a trend. We know now, but they're not going to let us know because the concussion is going to provide fodder to keep it unsettled. That's just the truth. We got to deal with it.
But by the way, I just want to point out one thing. You got to remember, John, that we're in the South, so the air is a lot thicker. So the colder is a lot more amplified in the South when it is that cold.
Well, the humidity and I want
same thing up here. Though,
I live in Orlando now. All right, so I'm not Florida naive. I've been in Orlando for a minute, but I do live in Seattle now. So,
gotcha.
But no, I get you, Shake. Honestly, when it does get cold there, it's a different element, and honestly, you're not used to it. Also, so I used to work construction out there, and it's when it gets cold, it's a different beast. And when that rain hits during the cold, it's something to reckon with.
And that's similar to here in New Jersey. The climate is the same. It's just hotter in Florida and it's more humid. But the humid climate is the same up here too. So I know the cold up here and how it feels. And same thing in Florida. It's just not as cold in Florida. But the air is thick up here too. It's humid. It's
a different type of cold. To
it's a different type
point.
of heat.
And I agree. Yeah, it really is. It dynamically, where you're at geographically, the cold does matter, and the humidity and all of that. So yeah, totally with you, man.
It's a wet cold.
I got a question for everybody. Well, for everybody. And I don't want to go back, get back on topic, but if we're looking, okay, Tua's done. All right, we might keep him as a backup. Whatever it is we're gonna do with him, it is what it is. So, what type of quarterback are we looking for? Are we looking for a Lamar Jackson? Because these type of, the mobile quarterbacks come with, they come with issues too, because he's not accurate either. So, but he can throw that ball, but he's not accurate, but he can run. Now, are we looking, or we can get a Derek Carr, which he's going to hit the market next season, who can throw that ball, who has power, but he can't run.
Yes, I'm telling you.
So what type of quarterback are we looking for?
I want more of a pocket guy. I like Jimmy G and Minshew, man, and that's who I like Lamar's game, but I just think this offense needs maybe some escapability off. I think Minshew could do a little bit off schedule, but I like pocket passers for this offense. It's a timing offense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think Larry, I think you might be honored to get. I don't think we're moving on from Tua.
I think maybe he's done. I think he might be done.
And that's the problem.
Unless he, and I've said this, unless he decides that his health is at risk and he needs to take some time off or retire, I don't think the team is moving off. I agree, John. I agree. I don't think it's happening.
It's not him.
I don't think it's happening. Yes. I don't think.
Now the organization owes the dude, and then I'm a Dolphin fan. I told you guys I just listened to too much, and I love TD. I listen to the guy the guy speaks truth to me. Yep. And then he had mentioned something like, "What makes you think the Dolphins don't pick up his fifth-year option?" And I was like,
I'm gonna pick up Noah's fifth.
I wanted, and I would not do it. But I was so angry when he said that because it rang so true to my heart. I wanted to rip off my headphones because I was like, they probably will.
Yes. What has this organization
done? They're
going
to re-sign this guy.
Yes. What have they done in the last 20 years to give you any faith that they're going to do? That's what I was saying to somebody today who was talking about Lamar. I'm like, why do you think they would even think about Lamar? This is the Dolphins. They don't do anything that makes sense the last 20 years. They're not going to do that. Don't be surprised if they pick up the fifth year.
They did things this past offseason that shocked me.
Yes,
I was like, this is so un-Dolphin-like, and I hated even saying those words. But, first of all, Derek Carr, can we afford his eyeliner bill? I don't think so.
But that's why
far too much eyeliner.
That's why I'm so mad, though, Pam. That's why I'm so mad, because they did it to us worse than they ever have. They pranked us worse than they ever had. They didn't just win a couple games and it was on us to get excited. They made specific moves. They designed specific propaganda with hyping up Tua with Tyreek and McDaniel. They designed certain hype machines. They brought in people. They dangled and pulled the rug out from us like they never have before. And I don't think they did intentionally. No one wants to lose. But they knew Tua has certain shortcomings, and they acted like we were going to overcome them, and then we got hit smack in the face, and I will not be surprised if they do the same thing next year. I hope somebody in there is smart enough to say, hey, we got to go get one of these guys, Minshew or Garoppolo, to at least compete, but I wouldn't put my money on it right now. Let's see how the rest of the season plays out, but I wouldn't put my money on it right now. Phil, what up, man? Good to see you. What do you have to say, my brother?
Hey, I've probably missed a lot of what you guys have been talking about earlier, but yeah, I think we absolutely need to bring in a veteran quarterback to compete for starting next year. But like I think has already been said right before I joined in, we have no money, we have no draft picks. I mean, we're pretty much screwed here, unless Skylar Thompson turns out to be Tom Brady 2.0. There's not a lot this team can do right now.
Oh, yeah, no, what do you think of that? What do you think of Skylar? What's your opinion?
I think he has a lot of potential, but I'm really glad they're starting Teddy this week because, I think Skylar is raw, and I think he needs to learn the NFL, and he needs to not be thrown in a bad situation. And what worst situation is throwing him in when the season's on the line against Bill Belichick on the road?
Yes, I totally agree. I'm on it. I agree. The Skylar's not ready. It'll be another year or two before we even let him even touch the field, probably. But I will say this, that I believe the reason why we're trying to keep Tua is because we don't want to end up with the pie in our face to say, "Oh, we should have got Herbert." No. We're gonna make sure that we're gonna cover all our spots. We're gonna let Tua go out there and continue to look like a fool. It's not gonna change. Nothing's gonna change. I think I've given up on Tua now. It's been going on for too long. This big games, big spotlight. This is when, even if he threw interception, I'm cool with that. But in a time that we need you, game drive, we got the weapons, we got this thing moving. All right, don't booger it up. He boogered it up.
Yes, and Phil, good point. Anthony,
we want to end up with the pie in our face.
Yes,
we just don't want. That's what it is. We don't want to be. Oh, I told you so. I told you so. Nah, they just don't want to end up with they're still trying to prove something. And they're not proving anything but continue to be like fools in that office. We're just blowing money. Once again, we're going back to the old Miami Dolphins where players want to come here to get money and then they end up leaving and going to a Super Bowl. We've been doing that for too long.
End up somewhere on the AFC East team against us, right? Like it's always
the Eagles running back. Remember we had the running back for the Eagles?
Or they just come here for the
Ajayi.
Ajayi. Look, Gase got lucky with Ajayi, and now we got Tyreek, and you make a little run. But if you don't have what at brass tacks and at substantive, the bottom line, you're not going to win consistently. You're not going to win when it counts, and you're not going to win year to year.
Larry, can we just take a little flashback? Actually, and Anthony, thanks for bringing up Jay Ajayi, what it was like to be a Dolphin fan. And to see the ball handed off, and this guy cutting. I mean, he's going right. He cuts left, and before you know it, he blows through the line. He's stiff-arming the guy down. I mean, the guy's bulldozing people. Unfortunately, his knees weren't built to last, but Larry,
but also Gase,
Jake, Greg, Pam. I mean, that was beautiful.
But remember,
beautiful.
You screwed that up because Gase, Ajayi ran an outside zone, and if you remember, who was the running back that was on the team? Was the guy from Houston? What was his name? He was a star for a while. Who? Arian Foster. So hold on. Recall, this is Dolphin Steve Ross's MO. He hired an offensive guru, and the first game of the season that year, Arian Foster traveled with the team. They left Ajayi home because Gase never liked him. Later in the year, he was forced to put him in. This is all true. This is documented. You could research it. He was forced to put him in, but he was forced to change his blocking scheme from inside zone to outside zone blocking because that's what Ajayi preferred. Ajayi went on and to have a epic season, 300 yards against Buffalo, I think. Just an epic season. Took us to the playoffs, carried us there. Tannehill got hurt, was unfortunate. We lose in the playoffs. The next year, Ajayi didn't look the same. Do you know why? Because Gase switched back to an inside zone because he was stubborn. He wanted to fit round pegs into square holes like all these gurus want to do. Like McDaniel, unfortunately, is showing me with Gesicki. They They say they want to adapt to the players, but they don't do it. And then when we lost another game, Gase, with his wild eyes, looking every freaking direction except at the camera, said, we're gonna make moves. The fans won't be happy, but that's what we're gonna do. The next day, Ajayi was traded.
Moron.
You know what pissed me off about
Yes.
What pissed me off about the Ajayi, we also traded away Jarvis Landry, 2 of our dogs.
Landry was a monster
what
too.
pissed me off more is not the trade, is what we got compensated for both those guys.
Yeah, nothing.
And the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Problem players.
Good for Ajayi because he got a ring with the Eagles.
Problem.
But
That's right, John.
Yeah. These are productive. Oh,
That
these
hurt.
guys are so productive. They're actually a voice in my locker room. Let's ship them.
Yes,
I'm
dude.
the only voice.
Yes.
I'll be the
Yes.
winner here.
Yes.
Oh, ridiculous.
Big
You know what?
yes.
And again, you know what? This takes me back to, you know what? Honestly, up until 2 days ago, I was naive, John. I'm gonna say I was naive, John, from Seattle. I was like, "Oh, Dolphins, you're making the right calls." Jay Ajayi, he won the Super Bowl. F that dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he should have stuck with the fit. But really, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "Boy, Jay Ajayi is a genius."
He was.
And our coach was a moron.
A
When you're
moron.
letting this guy,
And
this
we
guy
still with another
was
moron.
good. We didn't get enough back for him, and honestly, we could. His knees were about to expire. We all agreed,
And
but
they did eventually in Philly the year
They
after the
really
Super
did,
Bowl.
and it fell apart.
But that's
when
not why
you-
we did it. We did it because Gase was being a jerk. Remember, he played the London game, and he's from London,
That
and
was
we
the
didn't let him
London-
run.
yeah.
Like he
The
sucked
London-
because we didn't run the right offense, and he was
Did we let
embarrassed.
him go.
They
We
had like
kept him
kids
home,
with
right?
jerseys on, and Gase screwed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
That was
Yeah.
the London game. Yep.
Gaines. Woo!
It's gonna be a big problem, y'all, because even to now, we still have an idiot coach that's back there. And I mean, we got Gesicki, we got Tyreek Hill, we got Waddle, we got Sherfield. I mean, we got all the weapons.
We got
I mean, if we're gonna
Smythe,
throw the
too.
ball,
Yeah,
Look
Wilson.
at
ball and
Mike
play
last
game.
year.
get him
How
the
good he
ball.
looked. Yeah.
We're gonna throw the ball. We're not gonna run the ball. Throw it and give it to Gesicki. Give it to all these players that we got. They can't check all of them.
Yes,
I mean, it
exactly.
doesn't make any sense. And we'll sit here and do good on the run. We'll get it by halftime. We'll have 50 yards. All right, keep running the ball. No, we're gonna stop running the ball because it's working.
I think we had
Let's check
150
anything that works.
against Buffalo in the first
Well,
half and
I
ran
We
it 6
did.
times.
I want to
Yeah.
interject here because I want to bring something back. Look, guys, when we're running that successfully, they're stacking the box on us. They really are. If you look at the game field, we've got 2 outside defenders and a safety usually over the top. We normally got 8, usually 9 in the box. They're all crunched up in there. When we're running it, this is the time when I believe I like, you know what? Coach Mike has lost my confidence, but I've liked a lot of his play calling. I think the execution has lacked. When we are running well, okay, teams will adjust if they're worth their salt. And sometimes you got to hit them with the pass, all right? And then you hit them with the pass, you hit them with the run. Pass, run. Here's a problem. We're hitting them with the run. We're not necessarily killing them with the pass when we need to. So I want to give a little credit back to Coach Mike. I don't think he's failed this thing. I think our execution at times and our running game's coming on strong. We should be able to be hitting some of these passes. Guys, we're not hitting them. And that ultimately lies the problem here. So Coach Mike, man, the guy's lost my confidence a bit, but I think he's got the goods. I'm sorry. I think the guy's got the goods, man.
I'm not in or out on
he
him
does
right now.
too,
Not
John.
in or out. I don't. Phil,
Yeah.
what do you think? You made a face, Phil.
Yeah. Did you guys watch TD's video this Sunday? He kind of broke down the offense in a way that I had not really thought about before, but it makes a lot of sense where he talks about, Tua is a 2-read quarterback, and he stares
talked
down
about that,
receiver
yep.
A and he throws it to receiver B, and that is our entire offense.
Yeah.
And the NFL teams have figured that out now, so they're not following Tua's eyes. They're actually going after the guy that he's not looking at, and that's why he's throwing all these picks in the last couple of games. And when he put it that way, and you think about our particular offense, it's just it's so simple and it's so limited, and it really explains why we have been doing so poorly lately and why we're so easy to figure it out. Kind of like John was saying, we run the ball and then we start telegraphing runs and they stack the box and they stop our run easily. And then we go to this, 2-look thing and they know who's getting the ball when we drop into coverage.
Exactly.
So,
Well, if I
I
could
don't know if that
point out
offense is because of Tua or is it because of McDaniel, but the offense is just too simple right now, and that's why it's not working.
Makes sense.
By
And
the way,
Pam, I'm going to let you
I-
go, and then I want to give Canes the floor because he's been waiting.
I just want to point out, I looked up today with all three quarterbacks, we have 4,000 receiving yards. Almost 3,000 of those receiving yards are just two receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And we know who
you
those
mentioned
two
that.
are.
Shake mentioned that, and we talked about, Phil, how it looks like he's got a simple offense that's been figured out because he keeps forcing it to Tyreek, and all those yards are just the two people. With all the weapons we have, that's a problem. Pam, go ahead, and then I want to give Canes the floor.
So the one thing, if you noticed in the Buffalo game, Buffalo did not change their defensive look. They ran that same defense the whole time. We didn't need to stop running the ball. We should have kept running the ball. And in my mind, you don't stop doing what's working until it doesn't work anymore.
Thank you. Yes.
And of course, you got to throw the passes. You got to keep them honest. But when a run game in that kind of weather and that hostile environment, you run until they stop you. And they didn't stop us. They never did. They didn't change their defense. We changed what we were doing, but they didn't.
No, I agree with that.
Did it make anyone
Pam.
else sick to their stomach how the team was just patting themselves on the back for almost winning in Buffalo? That just gave me a bad omen all week long.
Well, I think that, and I'll say two things on that real quick, and then I'll give Canes the floor. Pam, I agree with you first and foremost. I do agree you have to sometimes pass it when they expect to run because they're stacking the box, and they were. But he did it almost every third down in the second half, and he only ran 6 times. They still couldn't stop us when we ran, even when they were stacking the box. Our holes have been these guys. This current iteration of the O-line has actually been really good at run blocking.
Yes.
Even against Green Bay, there were massive holes. So they've just been playing really well. But there are some chances to execute, and I think Doug Lee Durong pointed out one such play on 3rd and short where Tua just missed the guy. So John definitely has some merit there with that analysis. But to the omen thing, and to what Phil said, I get they're human, right? So I get why they felt like Buffalo. I don't think they were necessarily patting themselves in the back so much because they almost beat Buffalo as much as they seemed to be getting back on track the way they were executing as compared to the 2 previous games. But they are human, and I think they thought they were going to beat Green Bay, and they carried that swagger in. And you know what I didn't like? The commentators at the halftime of Green Bay. I'm watching that game, and when Green Bay scores that field goal at the end of the half, and then they're getting the ball in the second half the way we had been playing, I did not like the way that game was trending. And I was like, uh-oh, Miami's going to lose this game or it's going to be close. The commentators at halftime, because everybody thought the Dolphins were going to win, are like, yeah, Green Bay's got to step it up. Playoff hopes dwindling, because they just saw the score, 20-13. Like, playoff hopes dwindling. And I was like, what do you mean? Green Bay looks like they're going to win this game, because you just get a feel for the ebbs and flows of football you've been watching so long. Surprised they didn't. Maybe they were having coffee during the first half. I don't know. But
doing shots.
Yeah, but the team, I think, bought their own hype because they were kind of hanging out in the second half, too, until it was too late. And Tua threw the 3 picks. But I think now that's why I think we're going to have a tough go in the last 2 games, because they're human. They thought they were going to beat Green Bay. They didn't. They're in shell shock, too. And they're feeling down, too. And they're feeling like same old Dolphins, too. And now, whether Tua is great or not, the concussion just adds another, back to the concussion nonsense and the media crap and the season's tanked and your quarterback's gone. That's why I'm worried about the last 2 games, because they're human. They're feeling like we're feeling. They're like, man, what can we do? This is just a cluster F. And that's where we're at. I want to give Canes the mic, but that's what I just had to say about the points being made. Canes, what up?
What's up, everybody?
How you doing? Nice to have you on. What's on your mind?
Good.
What's on your mind?
Oh, what's the topic?
Man, shoot, you've been listening to the
No, I just turned on the show a few minutes ago. I missed a little bit of it.
So we're basically been talking about like how our coach, we've been going from running the ball really well, and then we basically go to the pass, and we're trying to justify whether this was a good move to turn on the run and go straight to pass, or are we making a mistake? We should just keep pounding that rock. What do you think, Canes?
I think we should mix it in.
It's a run.
That's where I've been at.
Like if something's not working, then flip to the other thing, and if that's not gonna work, figure out each team's weakness and go from there.
Yeah, so do you think they've been doing a good enough job? Because what Pam was saying was that you got to run it until they stop you.
Yes.
And John's saying you got to stay ahead of the curve and anticipate that they're trying to stop you. And
I think you got to air it out. When we're running it well, I think you might need a transition and go to that pass. Pam disagrees with me. She thinks we need to just keep pounding that rock. Canes, it sounds like you might be liking a mix, but I mean, where do you at? Do you think, because one's a failure, one's a success. If we're running it well, do we continue or do you think we catch them off guard and go to that pass, man?
I like to figure out exactly what worked in the first start of the season, though I had success instead of all this failure now.
Yeah, man, we can all agree on that, Canes. That we can all agree on. I don't like the failure. I like the success, damn it. And that's what I want.
For sure.
Well, I think I agree with John and Pam. I believe that like you said, I believe in a run. Whatever works, we got to jab at it. Because if you look at the Tennessee Titans, what they do is with Tannehill doesn't do a lot of the work some of the times. Like when they were running, if Derrick Henry's running the ball, they can't stop it. Derrick Henry's gonna get 30 carries that game. He's gonna run for 250 on you.
Oh,
yep.
They can't stop it.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
When what happens is they will keep running and running and running. We're gonna bring the safeties up and we're gonna lob that bad boy over your head.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way the Titans work. That's how they got to the AFC Championship. That's how they did it. They ran the ball until you stop it. Okay, then we're gonna throw it. Then we're gonna keep on running it until you stop everything we got going on. That's how the Titans work. And that's how
that's old-fashioned football right there.
Old-fashioned football.
Anthony, I agree because I'll never forget with the guy from Jacksonville, Blake Bortles, when they went to the AFC Championship that year. Leonard Fournette was running the ball, and once they brought the safeties up, that's how Blake Bortles was looking like a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. They brought the safeties up, opened up the middle of the field.
Yeah, and so to my point a little bit is I think we've been running the ball enough. I think we've brought in that defense to the point to where we should be heading these over-the-head passes. Yep. Now, I'm not saying my evaluation's right, but I think those plays have been open. I think we have not been executing. And I'm not sure. And I don't want to, you know what, Larry, I love you, man, because you're an awesome YouTuber. And I'm going to give credit to another one, TD again, because he had mentions like Tua's kind of a rhythm QB. So when you're handing off, it gets this guy out of rhythm of those passes. And you know what? We've been handing off really well lately. And look what's happened in December. Our running game has been, I think, I don't know the statistics, but the eye test tells me this is the best it's been for a while. This past, and we've almost lost every single game.
I agree.
It's been pretty good.
Well, I'll say this too, though. I think, well, that's a concern. If you look at the last couple games, all that we've hit, the only positive have been the long balls deep because they're stacking the box with the run game. That aspect has worked. What has not worked is Tua's shortcomings, which is throwing outside the numbers on out routes to get first downs, tight balls, making third and fourth reads in the flat, sharper passes outside of the middle of the field. I actually think our whole offense is based around play action, which he does all the time, motion, and down the middle of the field passes. If you watch that Tyreek throw all the way down to the 2-yard line, I believe it was, and then against Buffalo, we had one to Waddle and then one to Tyreek, like into the end zone. I actually think the long ball, it's not the best. Sometimes he's short, but I think the run and then stacking the box and jumping it way over works, but you can't do that 7 times a game. You can only do that 1 or 2 times a game.
Yeah, you're right.
And he's done it, but he can't throw outside the numbers, intermediate to the outside. Like when you're in the 2-minute drill, you got to throw to the sideline. And you got to throw to the sideline 15, 25 yards down the field. He can't do it. He tried to throw on that thing, and it was an interception. So not a disagreement. Yeah, not a disagreement, but just more of pointing out. I think his shortcomings are actually not the long ball as much as the intermediate ball outside the numbers. It's like not in his repertoire. Like you never see it. And when he throws the short ball beyond the sticks, it's never hard enough to the sideline that the guy catches it. It's always late and floaty, and the defender always knocks it away. You saw it in the Buffalo game when he kept calling the passes on 3rd and 2. To your point, John, it's there, but you got to get it to the guy's hands at the sideline. He can't do it.
Well,
you're right. You just
another
thing.
Another thing too. It's throwing on stride, like that Waddle pass in the Buffalo game. He should have thrown that on. That would have been a touchdown. He should have threw that.
And I take that back. I argued with John about it, but he's right. It was a little short.
Waddle.
Thank you, Larry. You're driving me crazy. I'm like, am I blind? Here, let me look.
I just meant they're not always going to be in stride, but yes, it was a little short. Yeah.
You got to wait on the ball. Like I mean, it works my nerves because as long as they caught it, I'm cool with. But these are passes that should have been touchdowns, like that type of skill pass. Even though we scored a touchdown a play later, last game. That should have been.
He throws like a girl sometimes.
Money.
Oh, come on now.
Girls can throw, sir.
No,
sir.
I'm saying.
Sir, this is 2022, sir.
No. What I'm saying
I can throw
is.
A punch.
We know what you're saying, Canes.
No offense, Pamela. No offense.
And Josh, thank you, Josh. Josh, I'm just going to highlight it.
Pamela, no offense.
We all dropping truth bombs. We're all dropping truth bombs, except the girl comment. Damn it, we don't.
Except the girl. Yeah, don't do the girl comment. So Larry, one of the things you
I'm
said.
sorry,
was,
Pam.
It's okay. We're
You're
just
good.
playing.
You're good, Canes.
It's okay. I'll punch
Pam
you
loves
later.
you.
Uh-oh. Run!
Run to
Okay,
her.
I love you
Pam, I
back.
love you.
I love you back. Trust me.
Pam, what's up?
So you were saying about how we don't see it. You said you don't see it, about throwing outside the numbers down the sideline. So I wanted to twist it around and say Tua doesn't see it because I don't know that he sees it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think he sees maybe over the line. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I don't think Tua sees it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That makes sense too. Well, remember when Tua said he literally doesn't see certain things, and I don't want to rag on him because again, I don't put a lot of personality-wise, I do like him as a man because he's not even lying. He's being honest. I can't see I'm short. What do you want from me?
I trust him with my wife.
Yeah, well, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't trust Justin Herbert around my wife.
No, well, I would never.
I do.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so I trust the guy.
Well, that's
like everybody else.
That's a different level than what I'm saying, but I understand that
And
point
don't
too.
trust Zach Wilson around your mom.
I would never trust Zach Wilson around my mom, sir. Zach Wilson is dangerous. Zach Wilson is dangerous everywhere except the football field, okay? Now, to that point, though, he said, I can't see it. What do you want from me? I like him because he's honest, but it's true. If you can't see, you're going to have problems in the league, though. And, why aren't they? I think part of the timing routes were because he couldn't see all the time. So you're going to have timing routes, just throw it and the guy will be there. But that's a problem when he's not there or when the defense is jumping the route. And again, I talked to an NFL coach. That's what he said. They figured out Tua, figured out his timing. He's limited. He has limitations. And because he has limitations, he's not going to succeed when they're figuring him out. Unless he takes another step in adjustment, and unless McDaniel finds a way to fit his skill set to make another adjustment, this is going to happen. But if you're so limited that you can't make adjustments very quickly, then it's not, you have to have a wide repertoire. Now, no quarterback has every single thing in their toolbox. Not everybody has every single club in their golf bag. But you got to have a wide enough array that you can counteract different defensive schemes and methods that are thrown at you. If you don't have that much in your toolbox, you're going to struggle in this league. And honestly, every year, probably 17 to 18 quarterbacks struggle in this league, which is why the elite playoff teams that are actually contenders are only 10 to 12, probably more like 10 any given year, because you don't have the quarterbacks that can do that. And you can compensate for it with a great offensive staff. Go out and find a guy now who can drive the car well. He may not build the car himself like a Rodgers, But if he can drive it efficiently, that's all you need. Tua could drive it efficiently only at one gear. When you shift gears, he can't. Get me a guy who's got a little bit more gears in his repertoire and bring him out. Garoppolo, just because he's tall, he can see. I'm not being funny. Like, that's something that could help because the talent and the schemes are there. Give me somebody who has a little bit wider of a repertoire. That's just the cold, hard truth. I like Tua. He tried. He played his heart out. There's certain limitations that are catching up with him.
Derek Carr.
And I think Skyler's tall, big, got a big repertoire, big arm. You know,
this is the offense he ran in college too, I believe.
Yeah. And while our offense is super quarterback friendly, you know, it really is. Like it's not that difficult. And you got Gesicki who ought to be in the end zone. And when we're in the red zone, why isn't Gesicki in the end zone? Why don't we put in Gesicki and then run the ball? Every time we put in Gesicki, we pass. We need to
sorry to cut in real quick, Pam, but I had to say this since you got Gesicki on your mind right now. You know that I think Gesicki had his best games with Teddy Bridgewater?
Yeah.
I think you're right.
He did.
Makes sense.
Except for last year, though, right, Cap? Last year, Gesicki was a beast, and so was Smythe. And that was with Tua. But it could, he was out then too. But we changed what we were doing this year. I honestly think that Coach McDaniel started just, I don't know, like we've said, coddling Tua and changed everything we were doing just to fit him.
Yeah.
And it took everything off the field.
Stat chasing. He saw the MVP and he wanted to prove something with Tua, and it's not. All he's doing is bringing out the old luggage from
Yes.
He's bringing out the old luggage. He's showing who he is. And I'm sorry. And I fought for Tua. I'm not a Tua-neer, but I fought for him because that's all we got. But I mean,
I did.
We all did,
all
man.
we got. I mean, Tua. And the thing is, these are things that even by watching on the TV, like Tua, what are you doing? Tua, what are you doing? Okay, you got a man on the flat, hit him. Tua's too busy trying to make the wow play. We don't need that right now. We're trying to win the game, dog. And I think that's where we at right now. I think enough. We got enough of a sample size from Tua. All right, dude, this ain't for you. Maybe you should try the Canadian League. Maybe that might work out for you.
He might be great in the Canadian League. I'm not even being funny.
Now,
I'm being honest.
We got too much money invested right now. We only got like a 2 or 3 year window. So we trying to get a Super Bowl now. We are a now team.
100%, Anthony. You're 100%.
We are a now team, and we are tired of waiting.
It is
now. The thing is, we're gonna start. You're gonna start losing money when people stop showing up to them games to the same old Dolphins. We do all this stuff and we don't get anything out of it. We got the best wide receiving core in the league. This offensive line is not going to get any better than what we got right now. So deal with it. Now, I will say this. When we had Tua has done a lot of good, but it ain't good. He's always been good enough, like just enough. He ain't like Tua's not scaring nobody on that field. What I mean by that, like we got the weapons, but they know that they got Tua back there. They're not going to throw it past 50 yards. Hey, y'all just get back. We're just going to pick it off as soon as you throw it.
That's what they do. Yes.
Yeah, it's like they're not worried about what Tua does. They don't care.
No, he's not scaring nobody. Now, if we had a Mahomes,
and that's sad.
That'll be torture out there.
Yeah,
if we had a Mahomes or somebody who can throw that ball 40, 60 yards on stride, that would scare people.
Anthony, thank you. That's kind of what I was saying during last week's episode. I'm like, if Tua could truly launch that ball and let it rip and let Tyreek Hill run under it.
Yes.
We have a different dynamic of an offense, but Tua has to literally get wound up. Not only does he have to drop back, then he has to go forward to get the momentum to throw the damn ball. It's fucking...
It's all right, John. One won't kill me. One won't kill me. But this proves He's in, you got to put it in the swear jar, sir. But this is how beside himself.
Larry, I owe you 20, buddy. You have it on Scouts Honor. It's coming your way. But plus, you got all these broadcast fees, buddy.
you,
You got
sir.
20 coming my way. That's in the jar, bud. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you, sir.
Jeez.
It's all good. It's all good, my bro. It's all good.
I want to credit that, John.
It's all Larry's, man. Sorry.
It's all good, bro. It's all good.
I get it, and we all understand that Tua's confidence. You know, he got to build his confidence. But look here, dog. This is real life. This is real football. Get out of here with all of that. Ain't nobody gonna hold your hand like Nick Saban. Go back to Bama with that. We trying to win. You know what I mean? We can't talk about. I get it, his height, but you got Drew Brees. You got who else? Wilson. He got a Super Bowl. I mean, Tua. Like he got to put the work in, and I don't think Tua's putting enough work in. He thinks that if I get a coach to hold my hand, I'm gonna be all right. Right now, McDaniel's people are gonna start shining that light on you.
No, you're right. And I want to know one thing. Greg, what are you watching?
What bowl game college?
Nice.
Which
I just
one's
love
on?
because Greg goes about his day. He ain't gonna just be focused here. Greg's gonna be here if we need him, but he's gonna go about his life. He's gotta work. He's gotta watch bowl games. He gotta eat something. And I
gotta
respect
throw
him.
something out about Greg. Hold on. Because I was listening to a podcast and Greg comes on, and then they're like, "What you think about the game?" And this is a Green Bay game. And look, this is a family YouTube channel, so I'm not going to say what Greg says. I'll bleep it out. It's more like bleep, 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 click, and he was gone. I ain't heard from Greg since until now. So, hey,
Greg is wild, man. You gotta love him. Like Greg is a certain character on this show that just adds a certain element. Yeah, his analysis adds something, but his entire personality and lifestyle adds something as well, just like all of us. So I was just curious, Greg.
Our Foxborough soldier over there.
Yeah,
man.
Foxborough soldier. I was just wondering what he was watching. That's all.
In
So
enemy territory.
By the way, you know what I also learned today?
Huh?
You know what Truth Bro I learned today?
What?
You went to the Bengals game and the Jets game, correct?
Yes.
And Pam, you went to the Packers game, right? Y'all need to stop going to games. You're bad luck.
Yeah.
Normally, when I go, we win.
Yeah, me too. I've been to. Look, I've been to like every Jets Miami game for the last 6-7 years. So you do the math. I mean, it's just
mostly wins.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about, like, okay, if we it seems like we're on a 4-game losing streak, but we seem to still have a pretty good shot at the playoffs, and it seems like our coach is going with Bridgewater.
Right.
If we don't make the playoffs, I mean, are we done with McDaniels? Can we even hold on to the guy after this?
Here's my thought. I personally would be pretty down on him because that's an epic, catastrophic failure. And two things. Number one, he was brought in to make Tua succeed, fail. He was brought in to build upon what Flo had and do better than Flo did. Flo was 9-8, fail. Now, that wouldn't give me a definitive opinion one way or the other, but I do think it would make me pause, and I certainly think the organization would pause, because remember this. So say McDaniel stays. I think then the organization is more apt, since he's buddy-buddy with Tua and they have their little chemistry, I think they're more apt to say, let's run this back at least one more time.
Yes.
If they have to clean house with McDaniel and Tua's already on the way out, that gives them an excuse to say, you know what? You definitively failed, McDaniel. It wasn't wishy-washy. You didn't even make the playoffs. Gives them an out to say, you know what? We're just flushing this whole thing. So I wouldn't make a conclusion one way or the other, John, but I think it gives the organization pause. I do.
The wild card here is
What'd you say, Greg?
The wild card here is
the wild card, and then you cut off.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, but you're still like in and out, so we're gonna have to get you on the good words.
Hold on. I'll leave and come right back.
All right.
So let me ask this then. So if we're gonna put it on Tua, so if Tua's coming back, Mike's coming back. If Tua's not coming back, then Mike's not coming back.
No. Tua might not come back and Mike might, but I'm saying if Mike doesn't make the playoffs, it gives them more of a reason to just flush the whole thing. I do think if they're smart and he does make the playoffs, they move on from Tua, or at least bring in legit competition.
Larry,
and keep
real quick, Larry.
Crazy, Larry.
Yeah,
I agree, Larry.
Yeah.
No, Larry, remember, I think I asked you the other day, man, and I just want to ask you the same question again, and I want to ask the panel again.
Mm-hmm.
If this team is giving up on a guy right now, why would you give the same guy the starting job the next season coming up? Isn't that the definition of insanity?
Because I don't think they're giving up on. I think they're using the concussion as an excuse. I really do.
Yeah,
because that's the narrative coming out of McDaniel. That's the narrative coming out of the media sphere. I don't think now if they give up on him, fine, good. But I don't think they are. I think the messaging from the concussion shows that they are not. I think they're going to use this as an excuse. I think
that
McDaniel
proposes the question, Larry, is we see on Sunday what this guy brings. If the front office believes in him, what the heck do they see he bring? Does this really boil down to money?
Do you see a connection with David Carr getting benched at the same time that Tua said the announcement about the concussion protocol?
Doubt it.
I don't think they're thinking that far ahead.
Separate.
I don't think
Seems
Miami's
very
thinking that far
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, that would be like mastermind stuff. And we all see Mr. Magoo.
Yes.
Larry be happy to pop it up on the screen.
You're darn right I would. I just want to remind you who we're dealing with.
Here we go.
Oh, man.
So what I was trying to say, Larry, was with McDaniel being fired and moving on for Tua, the wild card is Stephen Ross, man. He is going to have the say, I feel like.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't trust it. That's why I don't trust it, because
knowing how Sean Payton, Tom Brady, and Lamar Jackson are going to be out there lurking, dude. We could see Stephen Ross keep Chris Greer, fire McDaniel, and get rid of Tua somehow.
Great.
And
fine, get
Payton and Tom Brady come here. Like
it could. But he could also stick with Tua like he did against Watson, because he sells Tua jerseys and they scream Tua. Like, don't underestimate Tua on either, and don't underestimate the average run-of-the-mill fan of Miami that was cheering MVP and cheering for Tua even while we were down on him last year. They're still alive, and they're using that concussion thing as an excuse too, because they're already starting to pop up on internet websites and everywhere else. Don't underestimate the 30,000 that voted for him for the Pro Bowl. Don't underestimate them. So I'm not saying one thing or the other. I'm just saying I could see Ross, to your point, Greg, going all in for somebody like Peyton and Brady, or I could see Ross sticking with Tua. I don't know. But right now, the messaging from McDaniel, I saw some bad play that I don't normally see. Must have been a concussion. Seems like they're pivoting to stick with him, bro. That's just
I think Greg hit on an important point. Mr. Ross, it seems to me, is calling the shots here, through and through. And that's what confuses me about the Teddy start. I truly believe
Ross doesn't know anything.
No, but he has a final say of whether we keep Tua, whether we keep Coach Mike, whether we keep Greer. He has a final say of all. So I have to believe he has some input here of who's starting this week. And I mean, I'm trying to get back. Why in the heck? This guy has so much pull. We all know he's going to flex it. Why is he not pushing for Skyler?
Honestly, I honestly think he's letting McDaniel make the decision, because I honestly think he's gotten enough trouble already. He doesn't want to meddle with the game.
This is the worst time for him to make this decision.
And he's not smart enough to know what we all know, which is that Skyler should start. Even if he made the decision, I don't think he'd know that that's the right one. I'm being honest. This guy is an epic fail.
I want to rip my hair out.
Yeah, Cap. Yeah.
Upsets me.
Larry, if we make the playoffs, do you let him start?
Who?
Tua.
Or Tua? No, not Tua. No.
I don't know. Look. If he's available, they're gonna start him. Yes, they are. They are. But is he going to be available? Probably not, because if you factor in CYA, protocol, long-term health, media hype, he was out a month last time, be out a month this time. Somebody's talking about it today. That is the AFC Championship game. We ain't going there. So he's not coming back this year, in my personal
So what did that tell you if we get to the playoffs without him?
It tells me that he was the problem.
We have a better chance of getting there without him. Cap, you know this, man.
Yeah, we all know this.
Cap, homie, Cap, you preach it. I see you in the chat rooms all over the place. You know our best chance of making it to the playoffs is without Tua. Our best chance of winning a Super Bowl is, I think, you know what?
Not Larry, because I like Tua, but because I don't believe in either one of these backups being ready to do a deep playoff run yet. I don't. Come on, I don't, bro.
You know what? You're right. You know, Larry, that's fair.
Come on. I'm not saying they're like Tua sucks. I don't believe Tua would
the
win.
best we've had too. Also,
made my dog
yes, I don't believe. Trust me, I don't believe Tua was going to make a deep run of the playoffs or win the next 2 games. But I also don't believe these 2 guys could do it right now. Skyler maybe in the future. Teddy, no. I just don't. They haven't been as good as him, and he's not good. But that doesn't mean they are. I'm not a Jets fan where just because our starter sucks, our backup's good. They're not good.
2 games. That's all we need.
I know, but no, I honestly don't believe, and I'll be wrong if Teddy lights it up, or if Teddy gets pulled and Skyler lights it up. I will be wrong. I will be kind of happy because I still don't think we're going anywhere in the playoffs, but okay if they win. But I don't think just because Tua's not it that these guys are it. I think somebody outside the franchise could do it. I don't necessarily think Skyler's ready right now, and I don't think Teddy's up to it. I don't.
Doesn't seem like it.
I don't think Tua is either. Don't get it twisted. But I don't think anybody is.
So. Yeah, I don't think so.
That's
either.
my honest opinion.
This just popped right into the dome here. I'm gonna give it to you live. What if, let's say Tuba comes back next year, right? Skyler,
wear this shirt, dude, as a jinx. I hope you're wrong.
But we go out and get the GOAT himself, Tom Brady, and he starts the career.
Yes, get him.
Skyler's the 3rd quarterback and whatnot, and they learned it to him, and then the following year,
that'd be great.
I don't like it. The only reason
I'm with Minshew.
I want Minshew too, or Jimmy G. I want
Minshew.
Jimmy G or Minshew.
I don't
Jimmy G or Minshew. I'm with you, Phil. Oh, Larry.
Hey Pam, I got your vomit bucket right here.
Oh,
I'm gonna need it because if he becomes a Dolphin, the king of the cheaters, I'm just gonna have a cow. I'm gonna puke.
I don't.
I'll be fine with it, but whatever.
We need a franchise quarterback. We need somebody for the future.
We're not going to get that next year.
For 1 year.
I think we have someone for the future. I'm not sure how long
we could. Skyler could be it. We still need a bridge.
He really
we need a bridge.
He gets me giddy.
Or at least a competitor, dude. Like either a bridge who's going to start next year, like a Minshew or a Jimmy G, or one of them to compete so that Skyler legitimately beats them out.
You see this
to be
twinkle
the
on my eye?
This
is what it looked like when I met my wife. 21 years ago, guys.
Dude, don't hang
I am giddy over Skyler. I'm like, oh yeah, baby. Woo!
Don't show your wife this if Skyler doesn't pan out, sir. Don't.
No. You and the wife are panned out. Skyler is gonna pan out.
All right.
I'm just telling you, man. I got this.
Let me ask you a question. What has Skyler proven?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Against.
I don't
he
think
looks
he's
good,
had
but
a chance to prove yet.
Give me the opportunity. Give me Minnesota. The guy came out before. Look, he threw the ball.
He wasn't playing great before he got hurt, was he? He's playing
Bam!
okay.
Right off
okay.
the freaking hell. No, the guy.
No, he was playing pretty good. He was playing pretty good. When he got hurt.
Okay.
He was that Minnesota game. He was playing pretty good.
Okay.
Oh, dude, the guy was playing. And granted,
Teddy Bridgewater threw for how many yards?
300.
2. I don't know. 2.
How many touchdowns?
I'm not saying I like Skyler's game, man. I think Skyler could be it. I'm just not ready to say he is.
The point I'm trying to make here is Skyler.
He played against high school defenses in preseason.
Well, hold on. Minnesota defense is not high school. That team is one of the best.
What were his stats against Minnesota before he got hurt? I'm genuinely curious.
No. We don't want to. I don't want to throw out the stats because I just want to refresh. Let's go back in memory lane again. Skyler had got the ball. He marches down the field. He scored a touchdown. Oh, penalty. Okay. We go back. Oh, now we're on the 2-yard line. First down. Oh, no. Sorry. Rest. Penalty. There was like 5 or 6 penalties on that play. The guy basically went and he scrambled. He passed. He went for, and I'm not exaggerating, probably about 140 yards. On that opening drive.
Yes.
It was such a beautiful, to me as a Skyler fan, to see that opening drive. I saw a guy right there. This dude could win. He kept overcoming adversity after adversity after adversity. At the end of the day, the refs are going to throw their flags. Our players are going to get penalties. It was absolutely absurd. But someone asked me on this panel right here, right now, what have I seen in Skyler? I've seen this guy that probably went and put up 140 yards on the Minnesota Vikings defense. He came away with 3 points, but the dude looked like a freaking baller. He was making plays to the outside. He was scrambling up the middle. He was hitting our tight ends. He was doing what it takes. So I am willing to look at that section of his play and to say, That is what I'm looking for. I want to see more of it. So Houston's and all. So that's where I'm at with Skyler. I believe in the guy. I think he's got what it takes.
All right. So
I have.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Pam. I love you too. You and I agree. We're heart souls on this one.
Oh my God.
Yes,
I think right now
that's right. When I
think that's
when
what
I
it is.
see him, when I see him standing in the pocket and his focus is downfield when the defense is coming right up on him, but his eyes are not on those guys on the defense. His eyes are downfield. And he knows he's going to get hit, but that is a veteran move. There's a lot of things about having that focus downfield that you can't teach. You got to understand it, and he understands it. He doesn't have happy feet. He's willing to run. He gets the game. I see his brain. He's like thinking. He's got the physicality. I think the kid has it all. But I mean, until he gets opportunity to really, rep with the ones and get out there and play, we won't know. That's the big test. We got to see it.
Yeah, he hasn't had the Tua opportunity. I'll tell you that. Not even 2% of that.
He hates He hates him. Come on, man.
Come on, Anthony. Come on, man. You gotta believe in the Skynet, man. Come on. Come on.
Absolutely.
I honestly think that I haven't seen enough, because if you got to think, when he played the Vikings game, okay, he drove the ball. We've seen that. That's cool. But it also depends on what type of defense they're running. They could be running zone, and you can throw all over a zone. Now,
matter for Tua,
49ers
are running.
You put him against the 49ers, and when we play in the Chargers, then that's when you really get to see his play, because they ran man all game just about. So that's where I'm at with him. So I have to see more of Skyler before I say, all right, let's go.
Well, Anthony, hold on. Let me just propose this question. Okay. Are you pro Tua or pro Skyler? Like, where do your scales lean?
I'm pro quarterback.
No. They're both quarterbacks.
I need a quarterback.
They're both quarterbacks, and you've seen them both play. You just judge them both.
But I mean, we haven't seen much of him. We haven't seen much of Skyler. He hasn't played any a lot. He played maybe first 2 drives, and then maybe
inconclusive on Skyler. So where you at on Tua then?
Tua, I'm getting divorced, man.
Let's go with Skyler, man. That's our girl.
He's throwing the flag on the field for Tua. Flag on the field.
Man. He had too many games. It was like we had 4 games in a row. Now, I mean, all right, I give you the 49ers game. All right, Chargers, all right. Now this game right here, okay, Tua, what's going on, bro? Like, this is your time to shine. You threw 2 interceptions, and then he goes right there and gets boogered up.
I'm going to say this, though, real quick. To Shake Money's credit, Noah saved us on that last game in Pittsburgh.
He did.
Oh, he did.
Dude, come on, bro. Stop that. No, he threw the ball directly to Noah. Stop, man.
I'm just saying.
Stop that. That's no.
I'm just saying.
Hey, but you got to make the catch. Hey,
caught that ball. Stop.
You got to make the catch, man. You know who didn't make the catch? It could have won us the game. X missed the friggin' easy catch. So you got to make the catch. Even if he throws it to you, got to make the catch.
I want to take it back all the way to this point. Do you remember we had a fullback who dropped the touchdown in the end zone against Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Edmonds.
You know what?
Butterfly
effect, bro. Yes. That was it.
My God,
bro. That play changed almost
the whole
everything
season. Yeah, because he completes that pass, he probably doesn't get concussed because he doesn't press on that other play.
That was the play.
Exactly.
And it was boom. You know what? Tua could be a Super Bowl man without that play, but whoever knows. Now I look at him differently. Hey, makes sense. Can't go back in time now.
Makes sense.
And Larry, I think Tuanon isn't the same strength as it was. It may still exist, but I think knowing like what Anthony was saying, he was on the Tua train, I was on the Tua train. I was not like a huge supporter like above the Dolphins, but he's aqua and orange, so I supported him. But I think there were some Tua fans that were like totally on the Tua train, who are, I have heard them, they are off. They are throwing the flag. They're getting divorced, like Anthony said. They're
Listen, yes, the Tua is definitely weaker, but trust me, mark my words. If I hope we don't, but if we lose the next game or two with the backups and with this concussion talk, they will be back, not as strong, but still strong all off season, arguing crazy points and reasons why Tua's still the guy.
They'll be on life support, Larry.
They'll be on life support, but don't underestimate them, man. Don't underestimate. I'm serious. They're already crawling out now. If we lose the next 2 games with the backups, I promise you they're coming back. Not because I root for them, because they are obsessed. They're already coming out today because of the concussion news. Big O's already coming out, and he's got a big following. It's coming. We lose the next game, and it's not going to be because of McDaniel or because the teams are good or because it was cold or because Teddy sucked. It's going to be because, Tua doesn't check his win-loss record.
We're winning.
I'm telling you, bro.
Look,
we are
winning. There's 2 states.
If we win, they're even weaker. If we win, they're even weaker.
Hawaii and Alabama are literally behind Tua. Okay, so that as the I'm not even in Miami, right? But I'm a Dolphin fan. But our voices,
I blame Nick Saban.
I don't want to say the Tua fans are not Tua fans, but look, if you were not a Dolphin fan before Tua came in, your opinion might be a little different than coming in after Tua. And that is a huge issue right now. And we do have these echo chambers around here preaching nonsense.
Yes.
Look, here's where I'm at. Win or loss. Where were we at this time last year, Larry? Were we 9-8?
We were, I don't know about this
game
time.
roughly
we had the same record.
At the end of the year,
Were we the same record this time last year, folks?
I don't remember.
I think we were.
I think it was the same.
So at the end of the day, you know what? Here we are with Tua. Where the hell have we improved other than our roster and our salary cap, and then also the exit of our draft capital? Granted, Mr. Magoo, thank you for getting rid of Flores as one of our draft picks, buddy.
I'm not putting his stupid butt up again.
But I mean, honestly, like, why do they have this belief? Like, I hope someone on this panel could break it down to me. Where this undying, like,
do not try to, because I don't have the time. I'm tired, and it's going to take too long because it's impossible to break them down. And look at California, John. Look at California, who's got a Skylar Avatar, by the way. Skylar Avatar, but he says they were dead in the water until that fake narrative sprung up. Then I knew they were going to run with it, and damn right they are running with it. They're running with it, bro. They were dead in the water. They were shutting up until the concussion news came out. Now they're back at it. I'm telling you, bro.
Let me ask you a question though. So, like, let's just say Bridgewater get over the hump. We win 2 games back to back. He throws for 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, now it's tougher.
Now we in playoffs.
Yeah, now
back at it. Hey, that's Dolphin style right there. That's happening.
Are we gonna put Tua back in there?
I don't know, bro.
If we put Tua back in there, that means something's going on.
Definitely,
I think we do.
We're putting Tua back in there.
We're putting him back in.
Something's going on.
They want him to succeed so badly that they'll have Teddy set him up just for
the PR nightmare. Larry will tell you the PR nightmare. You know the PR nightmare is going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the thing too, yo.
I'm done.
Here's the thing too, though, yo. Listen, that's good if they put him in because he's going to lose, and then it makes him look even worse because Teddy threw for 300 a pop and then he loses.
It's going to get nuclear, Larry.
Yeah, I'm sure. But listen, that ain't going to happen, guys, because I don't even believe that Teddy's thrown for 300 yards. So
Larry, you can't. Wait, Larry.
Let's please stop.
Wait, if we make the playoffs, let's set the record straight.
Which is possible.
If we make the playoffs,
yes.
It sounds like Tua will probably be able to come back in.
I don't know.
Do we bring him back in at that point? If we make it on Teddy and Tua's available, this is going to be a discussion on this panel, and it's going to happen.
Well, it may.
Our coach loves the guy. Does he come back in?
Yes.
I agree.
Unless Tua makes the decision to go out for his health, right? Like, unless there's something going on in the background. Like,
doesn't sound like he gives a damn about his health. It sounds like the team.
Yes, it's the team, bro. It's not him.
I agree, Larry. He opened my eyes. I'm like, oh wow, damn.
Well, if he doesn't give a shit about his health, excuse my language, then later on the line, he gonna be sorry.
He will be.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Excuse my language. Sorry about that, but
no, it's all right, man. You got to go in the
that's how
swear
I
jar
see
too.
it.
The
I
swear
mean,
jar, sir.
huh?
Swear jar for
Swear
you
jar.
too. I'm already due for 20.
I'm
Canes.
Yeah.
Better
I'm
be
gonna be
careful.
honest with y'all.
Excuse me, I'm not
I'm gonna be totally
working at the
honest with
moment,
y'all.
so that's not possible.
All right, Canes, I'll cover you too.
I'll
Okay.
cover you, swear jar. Don't worry.
I think Tua has lost the locker room because if you've seen how Waddle looked with
Yes.
the towel over his head, I think
Yes.
he's fed up. Like
Yes.
I mean that right there shows right there like the way Tua threw. I mean, there's no concussion because Tua threw a couple of great balls before he had. I guess this so-called hit they were trying to look for. You know, I think Tua has lost the locker room. He had too many chances. Holland stuck his foot in his mouth once again.
Yes.
And now look at him. Now you ain't seen him back online yet talking about Tua.
We haven't. Honestly, he did look like a little. I was like, dang, man, that's
Yeah, because he looks silly now saying that.
Yeah,
he
he
said
looks
that.
stupid. He looks stupid.
Especially for people who have been fans for, and I'm not saying, I'm
fool.
not one of those people that's like the fans can do what they want, but you've been fans for like 30, 40 years, and like Holland, relax. We've been through a lot of heartbreak. It's not like we won the Super Bowl last year and we're just being jerks for one game. Come on. But listen, it's 3.5 hour mark, guys. I had a blast here. I'm going to give everybody their final words, and then we're going to move on to New Year's and this epic game in New England with Teddy Bridgewater. I'm doing the NFL Films voice, based in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, by the way. Okay.
Oh, nice.
By the way,
yeah.
before you get started, I just want to give a shout out to Derek, Unnecessary Roughness. He's been commenting real good, and I just want him to know that I have my aluminum hat. Yes, I do.
Oh, there it is. As long as you got it on, Shake. I'm glad you have an aluminum hat on. I'm going to have to get one because people are accusing me of being a conspiracy theorist because of a very obvious Twitter thing, but whatever.
They only help you from the
Larry,
grace.
real quick.
Yes.
Larry, real
Only
quick
the
before you sign
grace,
off, too.
okay?
I got a question real quick, Larry.
Yeah.
I just got on a little while ago, man, and shout out to you, man, and shout out real quick to my homie, man, Bobby Finch Talk Sports Network, bro. You guys check them out, bro. Bobby Finch Talk Sports Network. The guy's got great content, good hosts, good, for me, Larry, I just want to ask you, man, from everything you've been hearing, do you think someone is lying?
No. Well, okay, yes, hold on. McDaniel is lying, yes. He's lying that he was watching his regular film and just came across it. That's a lie. It came from Twitter. Now, he either saw Twitter or somebody told him to look at the film or to ask Tua the question because they saw Twitter. I am 100%, not 100%, but I'm pretty darn close to being comfortable
the
that
Big
that's
O
the truth.
thinks that Tua's lying and was withholding it during the Green Bay game.
No,
and
I don't
that's why
agree.
McDaniel confronted him.
I understand why he's saying that. I just disagree with Big O on that. I think that's Big O's way of trying to up Tua and make it look like the organization's on the up and up, the NFL's on the up and up. Tua's just such a tough fighter of a kid that he hit it.
Right.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think Tua did not feel like he had a concussion. And because if you look at the reports and Barry Jackson's report, I'll put it up one last time, as to what McDaniel said. McDaniel said during film review on Monday he had questions about consistency of things I studied daily on tape about Tua and continued to question Tua and then encouraged him to see a doctor who put him in protocol. So yes, he was prodding Tua. The league was prodding Tua. That was my original theory because of the Twitter controversy. Tua didn't want to admit it, but I don't think it's because he was flat out concussed and was hiding it. I think he had maybe some symptoms, probably had all year since his first concussion, just playing ball and whatnot. When they actually prodded him, sent him to the doctor, he's being honest. He's like, yeah, I have this or that. Yo, do you ever do this? They're prodding him because they want to put him in protocol because they know the hype and controversies out on Twitter. If they don't put him in protocol,
So you don't
the
think-
media's coming from him again. I don't think he was like, I'm concussed and straight up hit it, because I think if that was the case and he was going to come forward, he would have came forward Monday or whatever. I honestly don't think so, but that's just me.
You don't think they during the Buffalo first game, the concussion, because in my opinion, he had 3 concussions. You don't think he hit it then also in that game?
I do think he hit it in that game.
Yep.
But I do
So
think
that's
his
twice
back,
he hit it?
his back
3.
was also messed up. His
So that's
back,
3 times. No, 3 times we all saw what happened. We saw what happened the second time. But
his
2
back-
times, he's pretty much hiding and being dishonest. You don't think that's selfish?
Well, first of all, I don't think he's being dishonest this time. I don't. And I don't think that the first time he was necessarily being dishonest. He did hurt his back because he got bent back 2 plays before that. I don't know whether he believed that or not. Now, if the question is, do I think he's being selfish from the Buffalo game, for instance, for not saying that? No, not in his mind. He wasn't thinking about his paycheck. He was thinking about winning the game for the team. I don't think it's selfish. You can call him a lot of things. Honestly, just my opinion, I wouldn't call the kid selfish.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion.
Cap, but I'm kind of with you, man. I mean, I don't. I mean, just look at Tua and the way his career has progressed. It seems, I mean, it ain't right now. Something seems up with these.
It seems off.
Nothing has changed but the yards. Nothing has changed but the yards and the play.
So listen, I'm gonna let you guys go final word, final thoughts. Cap, you first.
Oh man, thank you for everything you do, man, and appreciate you keeping us out here, man, and letting us vent. And hopefully everything works out for Tua. We love him, but at the same time, we know it's a business.
Yes, sir. I agree, Cap, and it's always a blessing to have you on, my brother. You've been consistent from day one, man. You're one of the day ones. So great to hear from you. And I like the questions, teeing me up for some good conversation, my brother. And I'll talk to you very soon. Go Fins, bro.
All right, brother. Stay safe, everybody. Bye.
Bye, Cap.
Bye, Cap.
Canes, final thought.
My final thought is thanks for having me on. Sorry for my language. I feel completely bad now.
It's fine.
It
happens.
He's just trying to keep it to a minimum. That's all.
Yeah, it happens. It's okay.
And I really enjoyed speaking with everybody.
You too, brother.
As far as the Dolphins go, I hope for the best.
Yes, sir. Me too. All right, Canes.
And let's go Dolphins.
Let's go Dolphins. Happy New Year, Canes. Happy New Year, Canes.
Man.
Talk to you soon. Talk to you soon, my brother.
All right.
Later.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, final thoughts.
My final thoughts, man. I hope that we find a way. I want to find a way. I don't know how we're gonna do it. Just find a way. Larry, I appreciate y'all for bringing me on. I love this show. Keep it going. John, shout out to you, Pam, Greg, my boy Shake. Hey man,
Thank you,
Anthony. Dolphins, y'all. Love y'all, man.
Love you too, Anthony. Talk to you soon, my brother. Happy New Year.
How you too?
Later, Anthony.
Pam, final thoughts.
So I gotta thank you, Larry, because like your videos during the week, I just love them. You can tell I love them because I'm on.
Yes.
I've always got something smart to say. That's how I roll. But
yes.
I just really appreciate your content, and I share it quite a bit in my Facebook group. And so I believe in the Dolphins. I will be a Dolphin fan till I die. There's no doubt about it. I literally think something stinks to high heaven. I'm not exactly sure who's at fault for it, but I think we're going to win. I'm with John. I think we're going to win. I think we may even make it to the playoffs. I think we've got a great chance of that. After that, who knows? But whatever it is, go Fins. Thanks, guys.
All right, Pam. Happy New Year, too.
Thank you,
We'll
guys.
talk soon. Bye, Pam.
Okay, sounds good. Bye.
Johnny.
All right, hey guys. So, I mean, let's be honest. I'm pretty heartbroken, to be quite frank. I was really excited about this season. I believed in Coach Mike and the way those first 3 games went. I started to believe in Tua, and it feels like it's just all kind of went upside down on us. And gosh darn it, I put my heart and soul into this team, as all of us do. Everyone listening, everyone on this panel, we do. We spend a lot of time on this team because, frankly, we love this team. We want it to win. We want to see it succeed, and we want to be on it. A lot of happiness lies within these victories and losses. And I'm just heartbroken that we went through this entire rebuild season. It started with kind of Laramie Tunsil, and we sold him off, and we got all these draft picks, and we were sold all this hope. And then we end up taking Tua. Believe in him or not, you got to believe in your team. They're taking the right guy. These guys get paid to make these decisions. So regardless of whether I like him or not, I believe in the team. I believe in the leadership. And then I see what gets rolled out there with Flores, and then he starts getting bashed and he gets fired. And then fast forward almost literally to the year, Flores looks really right. And I literally took the side of the Miami Dolphins because that's what I do. I took their side. So right now, I'm feeling, and I'm just going to be frank with all you Dolphin fans, I'm feeling a little betrayed. I'm feeling a bit lied to. I'm feeling like this is some political spin, and I'm not happy about it. And what really pisses me off, folks, is we have Skylar Thompson, our 7th round draft pick, who is not going to get a shake out there on that field when we just got beat by Mr. Irrelevant from the San Francisco 49ers, took down our Tua Tagovailoa, and we don't even get to see Skylar Thompson because we're going to roll out Teddy Bridgewater, who, in all due respect, is a respectable quarterback. But the guy's got, what, I don't know, 12 years in the NFL. I'm exaggerating, but it's too much. Skylar's got 1, and we're not even getting to see a fair shake of him as a Dolphin fan. Gosh darn it, Larry, I'm pissed. But you know what? I am so grateful to be on this stream and to be with you boys, Larry, Shake, and Greg, because y'all speaking the truth, and you're giving this little guy from Seattle a voice, and I appreciate it. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, look, I'm a universal sign signal of 2. That means I love. And honestly, I love y'all. I love y'all from the bottom of my heart.
And John,
I appreciate every one of you.
You got to give me your Instagram again. Put it in the private chat.
I will.
You just told me before. I gotta add you and talk to you.
I'll add it in there, but I will. And I love you all.
My Instagram is Shake Money 78. So
woo, I'll be shaking. All right, man.
All right, John.
Love y'all.
Happy New Year, bro, and stay warm and have a happy New Year. And we'll talk to you about the Fins soon enough, my brother.
It's this hat name, by the way. I'm not really an Instagrammer, but it's this hat name, Boot Scootin'. If you see an instant message from a Boot Scootin', you know who it's from.
All right, I love it. All right, brother.
All right, see y'all.
Cool. All right, later, man.
Bye.
G?
Yo.
Final thoughts, my bro.
Man, I mean, this season's been a roller coaster, man. I mean, what else is there to say? We've been going up, down, Man, I don't know what to think. I think we're gonna lose this game, to be honest.
Me too.
Got a good defense. At the end of the day, it's Teddy Bridgewater. You know, you never know what you're gonna get from him. Mac Jones, same thing. You don't know if you're gonna get good Mac, bad Mac. You don't know. I think the Patriots will win. I do think if somehow, if it's bad in the first half, Teddy is not being Teddy Bridgewater. He's being Teddy Dogwater. You got to pull him, put Skylar and see what we got. Maybe we come back, maybe we don't. But either way, I'll be rooting for this team no matter what. But I think we're going to lose this game. But hopefully, you know.
And you're in the New England region, right?
Yeah, I am. My friends are probably going to be trolling me.
Well, I got the Jets last week, and the last week of the season, I'm in that territory, and that won't be fun either if we lose.
Maybe, hey, I don't know if I'll be able to. I might go to the airport where they come in or the hotel, but I have to work, so maybe I can switch with somebody, but we'll see. But
yes. All right, G. We'll talk on Instagram like we always do, bro. And Happy New Year, my brother. We'll talk game day. Later, G. Ebenezer, you got shaped up recently?
Huh?
You get shaped up recently? You looking
I got a
fresh?
little haircut, yeah.
You looking fresh, bro.
Well, thank you, brother.
Yeah.
But no, man. Listen, I'm gonna stay consistent with my message, man. The season ain't over yet. The book, and I know a lot of people are off the Tua bandwagon. I'm still not. Like I said, he has 2 more games if he does come in and play to prove himself. He still has it's a sliver, mind you, but he still has it. At the end of the day, I'm not the type of person that doesn't make my final conclusion till it's over. It's over when it's over, and unfortunately, and right now it's not over. And at the end of the day, I'm like I said, I'm gonna still be a Dolphin fan, and I'm gonna still root for whoever the quarterback is. So if it's Tua, Teddy, Steve Urkel, I don't care, man. I'm still a Dolphin fan, and my last words is bah humbug.
I love it. All right, Shake. I love Shake, man. He always goes out with a bang. He doesn't even wait for me to take him off the stream. He just leaves off the stream. So, anyway, look. If you have not done so yet, smash the subscribe button. hit the subscribe button. If you've been watching this whole show, this is what we do on this channel. You'll see plenty of content from me solo. You'll see live streams from me solo, little tidbits, crazy rants. I'll sometimes post funny stuff from around the NFL or around the league and the country and the sports world. There's always content coming, and then we always have this panel weekly. And then in the offseason, we're still going to do some stuff too. So go ahead and smash the subscribe button if you have not done so. Every bit of growth, every subscriber, every new member to Fury Fam matters to me. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the like button. Really appreciate everybody who donated tonight, everybody who participated tonight, and everybody who's always a part of Fury Fam and talks about the Fins, our beloved Fins, with me and with us, with the whole family and with the whole panel. Talk to you guys after the game, maybe a little bit before the game, but more than likely after the game in New England. My prediction is, we have a chance to make the playoffs because the Jets are going to Seattle. We are playing a New England team that, quite frankly, probably isn't as good as us, but we're going in with our backup quarterback. We're on a downward trend. It's in New England. New England's fighting for pride and fighting not to get swept. It's going to be tough. I'm not predicting a win, but I'd love to see a win. Shout out to you too, Jarvis. But at the end of the day, man, that's where we're at. I want everybody to have a happy New Year. Hopefully you spent it with your family. Hopefully you had a Merry Christmas. Hopefully you had a happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate. Enjoy the holiday season. Enjoy the rest of this year, 2022. I hope you get the most out of it. I hope you got your resolutions on deck. I know I got plenty of mine, and I will speak to you guys very, very soon. Good night, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Fins up.
I know you heard me on the radio flexing. She loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K. I know you heard me on the radio flexing. She loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day.